They say he sipped moonshine laced with mountain snow. He was the legend of Ingle Hollow.
Born in a small house down by the creek, a big strapping cuss, not mild nor meek. He had to drive real fast just to make ends meet. He was the legend of Ingle Hollow.
He drove the Iron Horse to a victory or two, beating Curtis, Little Joe, and Fireball too. Those ghosts of yesterday still haunt this old hollow, but the legend lives on, building champions of tomorrow. He's the legend of Ingle Hollow.
He lives a simple life now, a good hound, a good car. With that bright red T-Bird, they all know who you are. It's a challenge he lives for, and all others must face. When you come to North Wilkesboro, you've arrived at Junior's place.
Motorsports coverage presents Speed World. Today from North Wilkesboro Speedway in North Carolina, it's the Tyson Holly Farms 400 Winston Cup race. It's an overcast day here, but we're in for some exciting action. Race number 25 of the 29 race season. And good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome to North Wilkesboro. This, of course, is the home track of the legendary Junior Johnson. He has recorded 18 wins here on this racetrack as a car owner. As a matter of fact, he has 2 wins as a driver at this facility. His current driver, Jeff Bodine, is 329 points behind the leader in Winston Cup points in 3rd position. Dale Earnhardt just 16 behind the leader, Mark Martin. Now, Junior's current driver is Jeff Bodine. He'll start way back in 19th position today because he blew his qualifying engine during practice. But this is a track that you can be very aggressive on to get to the front. Right, Jerry Punch?
You certainly can, Bob. You can be very aggressive at this racetrack. It's the final short track race of the year. If you're a graduate of the framming and bamming and bumping and grinding school of short track racing, you love North Wilkesboro Speedway. You get a chance to slam fenders and rub bumpers. But if you're in the Winston Cup point battle, you got to be very careful. Remember, 1 year ago, final lap, Dale Earnhardt in turn 1, Ricky Rudd and Earnhardt come together. Earnhardt spins, Rudd spins, and Jeff Bodine goes on to take the win. Now, Earnhardt ended up finishing in 10th spot. He lost 46 points that day. That 46 points, well, remember, he lost the championship by only 12. So if history is any indication of what could go on here, this race could turn into a veritable slugfest today. Gentlemen?
Well, Jerry, if it should turn into a slugfest, the drivers could have 2 major problems. Number 1, if they make contact too hard, they could put themselves out of the race. Number 2 is a fellow named Les Richter, called the coach. He's a competition director for NASCAR. He sits high above the racetrack with some of these binoculars, watching the cars as they go around the racetrack. If he sees contact that he feels like is maybe not necessary, Ned, those drivers could have a serious problem.
Yes, they could, and the problem could be this black flag given to them, which is a consultation flag, means that they got to come in to talk to one of the NASCAR officials, and last week, NASCAR invoked the penalty rule, first time in quite a while. Jimmy Spencer was a victim of it. He and Ernie Irvin made contact on the racetrack, so he was penalized 5 laps. A little later on, Sterling Marlin, trying to get a lap back from Bill Elliott, bumped him, spun him. Well, he was taken in for a 5-lap penalty as well. And his car owner, Billy Hagan, got a little upset about the situation, but that penalty box is certainly something that could be invoked here this afternoon.
Well, Ned, I can almost guarantee you that this guy right here, Mark Martin, will not wind up in the penalty box because he's a smart driver. He knows when to be aggressive, when not to be aggressive. That's evidenced by the fact that he's finished on the lead lap 21 out of 24 races. Remarkable. And Mark, with all the beating and banging that's going to be going on out there this afternoon, you really have to play it smart, don't you?
Well, if the car's working good, we'll be as aggressive as anyone. If it's not working good, we'll do what we can to fix it. You know, we're here to race. We're going to try to take this Folgers car to victory lane.
Well, there you have it from Mark Martin. He says he will be aggressive if he has to and if he has the car to do it. But, you know, the road to a championship, I think, is one more up here in the head for a smart driver.
So Mark Martin starts outside front row. Kyle Petty is on the pole. The last time he was on the pole at Rockingham, he won $228,000 in Unical bonus money. That amount today is $15,200. 32 cars move off of pit road. And we'll be back to introduce the starting lineup to you in just a moment from North Wilkesboro. Welcome back to the Tyson Holly Farms 400 from North Wilkesboro Speedway in North Carolina. Let's take a look now at the starting lineup for today's race. On the pole with a speed of 116.387, his second pole of the year in the Peak Antifreeze Pontiac number 42, Kyle Petty. Outside of row number 1, the current leader in Winston Cup points, Mark Martin, the number 6 Folgers Valvoline Ford. In the second row, it's number 94, Sterling Marlin in the Sunoco Oldsmobile. Outside the second row, his best start ever, the Citgo Ford, number 21, driven by Dale Jarrett. In the third row, it's Terry Labonte in the Skoal Classic Oldsmobile car number 1. Outside will be Alan Kowicki from Greenfield, Wisconsin, and the number 7 Xerox Antifreeze Ford. Starting 7th is Bill Elliott from Dawsonville, Georgia, in the number 9 Coors Melling Ford. Then the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet number 3, driven by Dale Earnhardt from Kannapolis, North Carolina. Starting 9th is Ken Schrader in the Kodiak Chevrolet number 25. Outside the 5th row is Michael Waltrip from Owensboro, Kentucky, in the Country Time Maxwell House Pontiac car number 30. Then it's Darrell Waltrip in car number 17, the Tide Chevrolet. In 12th starting position, Brett Bodine, who won here in the spring in the Quaker State Buick number 26. As you take a look at the rest of the starting lineup, we will be going green in just one more lap. 400 laps of competition here in the Tyson Holly Farms 400, the final short track race of 1990.
And this racetrack, Bob, can be a real challenge. A lot of laps were spent yesterday afternoon in practice, and everyone trying to get their cars dialed in just right. And this is a tough track to get dialed in right.
There you see that 6 drivers tried but failed to make this event, including Tommy Kendall, who wanted to make this his debut on an oval in Winston Cup competition, didn't qualify fast enough.
They will be using the radial tire this afternoon. Remember, about a year and a half ago at this very speedway, the Goodyear radial made his debut on the stock cars.
They added 3,100 seats here, and still there isn't a seat to be had anywhere. A sellout crowd getting set for the 25th race of the Winston Cup season in 1990 as Kyle Petty leads them off turn number 4, looking for a green flag, and the green is out. Here we go. Remember, Mark Martin can pick up 5 bonus points if he leads this first lap.
He has a little bit of edge coming off of 4. He might be able to do it.
Mark Martin does lead lap number 1, but now here comes Kyle Petty on the inside, who was the pole sitter. Sterling Marlin and Dale Jarrett right there. Also a car spins. That's Davey Allison off of turn number 2 into the grass on the backstretch. Let's see if it brings out a caution flag. No indication of that yet. Davey Allison is getting the car headed in the right direction, and no caution flag. Kyle Petty now leads, however, and Sterling Marlin has gone to second. Mark Martin, who led lap number 1, is back to third. As here comes Terry Labonte. He and Alan Kowicki battle side by side.
Mark Martin got his 5 bonus points he wanted so badly. Remember last week at Martinsville, he started on the pole and did not get his bonus points until like 400 laps into the race.
That's right. The Rusty Wallace, who was outside pole sitter for that race, led the first lap and denied Mark those points, but now Mark has the 5 extra bonus points as we're watching Dale Earnhardt try to move his way through traffic in 5th position.
Earnhardt started 8th and has already moved up to 5th. No big surprise. Everybody knew that he would make a move pretty quickly.
We're inside Dale Jarrett's Citgo Ford. That is the Alan Kowicki and Dale Earnhardt cars just ahead.
And Terry Labonte, the 4th car up in front, has gotten by Martin. Martin is now running 3rd.
Here comes Brett Bodine in the number 26 car. He's side by side with Bill Elliott in the first turn, and the side cam working on Brett Bodine's car. And a spin in turn 2. Derek Cope involved. And NASCAR officials once again watch closely, and this time a yellow flag will come out. Cope couldn't get the car headed in the right direction before the field came around, so the yellow flag flies for the first time here at North Wilkesboro as Derek Cope is spun in turn 2. There is Kyle Petty coming around to take the caution flag for the first time.
Yeah, the caution flag came out right behind him, but he slowed down.
Sterling Marlin 2nd, Terry Labonte 3rd, Mark Martin 4th, and Dale Earnhardt is 5th at the Tyson Holly Farms 400. Under caution here at North Wilkesboro because of a spin in turn number 2 involving Derek Cope. The number 11 car, Jeff Bodine, that's Junior Johnson's car, reportedly is running only 7 cylinders.
He has been backing up in the field, Bob. We wonder if he's going to come into the pits. They were out on pit road just a moment ago. They'll be getting the signal for one more lap. Let's go to the pits and John Kernan.
Now, they were contemplating it. Tim Brewer is on the radio talking right now. They were going to bring him in and check around the distributor area. The rotor button, they think, might be broken or something gone amiss. Maybe a plug wire's come off, as we saw last week with Mark Martin. But right now, it doesn't look like, with only one more lap to go back to green, that they're going to bring him in.
Okay, so Jeff Bodine is going to stay out there as the indication is given to the field. They'll get the green next time around.
Of course, they would have not had much time to work on the car. They would have only had time really to get the hood up and take a look at it before the green would be coming out. So they want a little bit more time than that. There's Junior Johnson in deep concentration, perhaps listening to a conversation between crew chief Tim Brewer and the driver Jeff Bodine. The pace car pulls off the track, Bob, and we're ready to go racing again.
Indeed we are. Here comes Kyle Petty to take the green flag and the resumption of this race. Green flag comes out on lap number 10. Back to racing. Running in 4th position. Right behind him is Dale Earnhardt in the black number 3 car. And then comes Alan Kulwicki, the number 10 car of Derek Cope, involved in that spin up in turn number 2, is a lap down already.
There's several cars that made some contact in that spin. I saw Dick Trickle had some damage to the nose of his car. Jeff Purvis had damage to the rear of his car. So Derek Cope is the car that spun, but several other cars did sustain some sort of damage.
Brett Bodine in the Quaker State Buick. And we jump inside his car, and right along with him, Derek Cope to the left. This is a 5/8 mile racetrack, and you actually go uphill when you go down the backstretch, and then downhill down the front stretch.
Let me tell you, you better not forget which straightaway you're on, because if you get going down the front and forget that you're on
Here's
the front.
trouble up in turn 4. Morgan Shepherd has spun against the wall in the Motorcraft Ford. No caution. He was completely against the wall, but he gets the car down and gets it going again.
The left rear tire is flat on that automobile.
No caution. Race resumes despite the fact that Morgan Shepherd spun in turn 4.
I thought the left rear tire was flat, but it sure looks like he's going pretty good speed.
Inside Dale Jarrett's car once again. That's Ken Schrader just ahead of him, the Kodiak Chevrolet.
Yes, Schrader just got by, and Dale's car not handling too good. It doesn't look like he's moving back from his 4th starting position.
Once again, an excellent qualifying performance from Dale Jarrett. His best ever in a Winston Cup race. Let's go for more on this to Jerry Punch.
Well, indeed, Dale Jarrett is trying to ride a bucking Bronco right now. They've had a problem all weekend with the car being loose, even when he qualified, but he had a great qualifying effort, as you said. The car right now is pushing very badly for Jarrett. He started in 4th spot and just trying to hang on to the top 10, but the car continues to fade here early in the race.
So Dale Jarrett trying to hang on. Meanwhile, there's a good race up front for 2nd position as Terry Labonte goes to the high side of Sterling Marlin in the 4th turn, looking for 2nd spot. Kyle Petty continuing to lead this race. Sterling Marlin. Oh, and here is Rick Mast. Oh, and Harry Gant is collected right on the main straightaway at the start-finish line.
Gant absolutely had nowhere to go when Mast started spinning coming off of turn 4. And Gant ran right into him. Now both of them have their cars moving as the leaders
look at this.
And Terry Labonte runs right into Rick Mast.
The hole closed up. Harry started down the track and Mast started up the track, and the hole closed in for Terry Labonte. He had nowhere to go.
I can't believe this.
That is an unbelievable situation, and probably Terry Labonte got the worst end of this deal. Here it is again.
Well, here's how it started happening. Rick Mast in the car number 98 down on the inside taps the car number 8 of Bobby Hillen a little bit, and it sends Mast around. He overcorrects right directly in front of Harry Gant. They hit head on. You can see other cars scrambling to get by, but the caution comes out at that point. But see, the leaders had already gone by the start-finish line, and that's why we see they come around now to get the yellow flag, and the hole absolutely closes up.
Unbelievable. And Terry Labonte's car is stopped down here below us, as is Harry Gant's. Here it is again. Now, watch Mast go up the track and Gant down the track, and the hole close up for Terry.
We see Harry is trying to get away from the outside retaining wall. Now, Mast is backing up. Labonte has no place to go.
Nowhere to go. You know, last week, fellas, we saw 2 Rick Hendrick cars crash together. Here are the 2 Jackson Brothers cars, the only 2 they have, and they have crashed together here on the front straightaway.
John Kernan down in the Junior Johnson pit.
Well, this is an opportune moment for Tim Brewer and the crew to take a look under the hood. They're checking the distributor cap to make sure that all the coil wires are in place. Jeff refires the engine now. They will look. They have got a chance to look at it without him losing. And we'll have to wait and see if they got it fixed.
In any case, Bodine back on the racetrack as they continue to clean up the debris here on the front straightaway. There is Terry Labonte, and he is unhappy, to say the least. And he was certainly a victim of circumstances. He was running in 3rd position and perhaps had thoughts of having his best finish of the entire year when something happened here on the main straightaway. So the top 10 now show that Kyle Petty remains in the lead of this Holly Farms 400 from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. We'll be back with more after this. 22 laps complete. Kyle Petty leads. Sterling Marlin, Mark Martin, Dale Earnhardt, and Alan Kowicki. We are under caution because of this crash, which occurred on the main straightaway and in turn number 4 just a few laps ago.
Rick Mast makes contact with Bobby Hillin. Rick Mast jumps out of the throttle to keep from spinning Hillin out, and that spins himself out. And along comes Harry Gant, right into Rick Mast. And then Gant sits there against the outside retaining wall. We see Rick Mast go right by our camera, and Harry Gant practically stopped. Now they're racing back to the line. Terry Labonte, the black and white car, is following Sterling Marlin. Sterling gets through, but the hole closes, and Labonte into the side of Rick Mast.
Unbelievable. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who's with Harry Gant.
One of the victims today, Harry. Some days it just doesn't pay to get out of bed. Now, what actually happened up there? You saw Rick spin.
Yeah, Rick was spinning in front of me, and he was coming across the track, and you know, I went over for me to go try to go towards his front end, you know, and try to maybe hope that he could get it stopped before he got to the wall, but we hit the wall and the front end at the same time.
So you turned your car into the wall to keep from hitting him head on at 100 miles an hour, and then you got the car refired and tried to get it out of the groove?
Yeah, I was going to go, and the steering was broken. The car was go left, you know, and so I put the brake on. I thought, you know, the caution's out there. So when I tried to stop, Rick was back in his car, and we had the track completely blocked in.
And Terry Labonte turned out to be the victim there. Harry, again, a tough afternoon here at North Wilkesboro. Back upstairs.
All right, thank you, Jerry. The cleanup is essentially finished here on the main straightaway, but we do not have a green flag yet, although the signal is being given. We should be going back to green in just a matter of moments. Stay with us for more of the Tyson Holly Farms 400. 25 of 400 laps completed. We'll show you the top 15 now, as we are still under caution because of the accident here on the main straightaway involving Rick Mast, Harry Gant, and Terry Labonte. However, the signal has been given, and this time around we should be getting the green flag and a resumption of the racing.
You see Morgan Shepherd down on the inside in the red and white 15, and right behind him the orange and white 10 car of Derek Cope. Both those cars are a lap down.
Cope, of course, spun early in the event over in turn number 2 and lost a lap, and Morgan Shepherd also spun up in turn number 4 in a separate incident and lost a lap. The green waves, we're back to racing with Kyle Petty setting the pace.
Well, we understand that Jeff Bodine, the Junior Johnson crew, was able to get the Budweiser Ford fixed, that maybe a wire on the distributor had broken or come loose or something, but anyway, they have it fixed, so we'll see if Bodine can come up through the field.
Now we're watching Dale Earnhardt right behind Mark Martin. Those two in a battle for the Winston Cup. Mark Martin on the outside in the maroon number 6, and then Dale Earnhardt in the black number 3. They're battling for 3rd position. Derek Cope in there, but he again is a lap car. Morgan Shepherd up front trying to get his lap back in the number 15 Motorcraft Ford.
Rob Moroso will be coming into the pits. He is getting a stop and go for jumping the flag on the restart.
Oh, Sterling Marlin almost loses control as he gets alongside Kyle Petty, tries to take that spot away. Almost cost him.
He sure did. He saved it and didn't lose a spot, but it was close to a spin. Bill Elliott on the outside of Ken Schrader in car number 25, trying to move up. This is the 11th and 12th positions here.
Elliott's car seems to be pushing up a little bit in the turns. He's been going very wide even when he was running in single file. So that gave Schrader the opportunity to move down on the inside. They're running side by side now. Schrader gets the measure of him, or it looks like, going into turn 3. Now he comes back up on the outside, but I believe Schrader has it. Here comes Darrell Waltrip in the Tide Chevrolet.
Waltrip has 9 wins at this racetrack. Good battle here. The 5 of Ricky Rudd, the 27 of Rusty Wallace going at it. Boy, they're fender to fender and wheel to wheel.
Very close as they come off of turn 2 and head up the backstretch into turn 3. They touch.
Oh, they sure do touch.
The shot from inside Ricky Rudd's car. Nothing has changed. They go back down in turn 1 and 2, still side by side.
Now looking back at them from Brett Bodine's perspective. Michael Waltrip and Brett Bodine moving to the inside of Derek Cope. That 30 car of Michael Waltrip running well here in the early going. There's Rusty Wallace again trying to get his nose to the inside to get around Derek Cope.
And Michael Waltrip started in 10th. He now is running in 6th position. And Brett Bodine running in 7th. He started 12th.
Inside Ricky Rudd's car. Great in-car camera shot. Oh, and Rusty Wallace and Derek Cope are trading some paint.
That's that pramming and bamming Jerry Punch was talking about at the beginning of the show.
Look, they're still going at it.
Dick Beatty told the drivers in the drivers meeting, said, now we know there's going to be some donuts on the side of the car, and we saw what you see it right there on Derek Cope's car. That's what he was talking about, the donuts, the rim of a tire or the print of a tire up on the outside.
This is Ricky Rudd's car from inside Rudd's car. They got together coming off the second corner.
3 Hendrick cars are running right here together. Rudd, Schrader, and Darrell Waltrip.
And NASCAR is frantically giving the move-over flag to Cope. But Cope's in a bad situation. There's nothing he can do.
Yeah, he can't move over. He can't get to the inside of the racetrack. He's giving them room down on the inside of the racetrack to run. They're having a tough time getting by.
This is a shot from inside Ricky Rudd's car, looking back at Ken Schrader. Remember last week? I don't think these guys want to race side by side too much this week, do you?
Both cars taken out in a really terrific crash over on the backstretch at Martinsville. Neither driver injured, but both cars severely damaged. We're sure that you can't forget that accident that occurred last weekend at Martinsville. It was a battle for the lead as they came off the second corner, and Rudd and Schrader both hard into the inside wall. We talked with both of these guys this weekend and got their opinion on what has happened in the past week as a result of this incident.
Cars were running good. Both of them had been up in the front quite a bit. You know, he said he don't really like to see the cars run into one another, but he didn't see anything where either one of us did anything intentionally. And, you know, it was just one of them racing deals. And, you know, he just assumed that we'd be a little more careful around each other, and that doesn't happen again. But he was glad that we were both up there, you know, running first and second when it did happen.
You can imagine how upset as a car owner he would be if if all of a sudden your two cars or two chances late in the race get taken out of the races, especially wrecking with each other. But, you know, he said he knew that day was going to come someday. He just didn't expect it to be at Martinsville last week. But looking at the other side of it, you know, how often does a car owner have cars run 1-2 and look like they're going to finish that way? And those days are rare. And the biggest thing I can say is the performance level of both the race teams have improved so much since the beginning of the season that hopefully that won't be the last time we're racing for 1-2. And this time maybe I'll give a little more, maybe Kenny will give a little more, and try to work a little closer together, I guess, since we are come out of the same stables more or less.
And so that's the way it was as a result of last weekend. Look at this, Sterling Marlin and Mark Martin, second position. Here comes Earnhardt and Alan Kulwicki.
Right now, Sterling Marlin is holding up the 6 car of Mark Martin. Martin's car, he fell back a little bit at the green flag at the onset of the race, but he's got the car running very well now.
He's made a move or two trying to get by on the outside as Sterling is protecting that inside groove, but Martin hadn't been able to get by on the outside. He drifts up a little bit coming over the turn, but Marlin has the horsepower down the straightaway.
Meanwhile, these 3 Henry cars continue to run nose to tail. Schrader, Rudd, and Darrell Waltrip. And here is Mark Martin being passed by Dale Earnhardt.
There was some contact between these 2 cars coming off the second corner. Kulwicki tries to get alongside, but can't.
So Dale Earnhardt now moves to 3rd, Mark Martin back to 4th, and Alan Kulwicki is in 5th in the number 7 Xerox car. Kyle Petty continues to lead this race. He was the pole sitter in the event, and Goodyear will donate $1,000 to the Winston Cup Racing Wives Auxiliary in the name of our pole sitter, Kyle Petty. Earnhardt a little loose coming off the second corner.
He made some contact with Sterling Marlin, almost like Rick Mast and Bobby Hillin a moment ago.
You see the lead that Kyle Petty has, but Morgan Shepherd, we saw him pass Kyle and get back in the lead lap. He has driven away completely by more than a straightaway over Kyle Petty. So Morgan Shepherd is the fastest car on the racetrack.
The 94 car, the blue car driven by Sterling Marlin, was announced yesterday. He's going to drive for Junior Johnson next year.
That was the world's worst kept secret, but the official announcement has been made. Maxwell House sponsoring Sterling Marlin with Junior Johnson next year.
And Terry Labonte, the black and white one we saw crash out earlier, will drive the 94 car. Comes Brett Bodine. We saw him take a look on inside Alan Kulwicki just a moment ago. There he is, Brett Bodine, the green 26, Alan Kulwicki, number 7.
Inside Brett Bodine's car, the string ahead of him, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. He's running in 6th spot. Now Earnhardt makes a bid for 2nd down into turn number 1. He drives alongside of Sterling Marlin. They go through the second corner side by side, and they go down the backstretch. They rub. They're still side by side through the 3rd and 4th corners. They're still bumping on each other. Earnhardt has the position, and now Mark Martin and Sterling Marlin get together a little bit.
And Martin takes that spot away. So now Earnhardt is 2nd, Mark Martin is 3rd.
Earnhardt just went in there and rooted himself a groove, got on the inside, and Mark Martin took advantage of it and made the fast 2.
Well, we have already seen some exciting action in the first 53 laps of this 400-lap Tyson Holly Farms 400 at North Wilkesboro. We'll be right back. Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, Jerry Punch, and John Kernan back at North Wilkesboro, where Kyle Petty leads the Tyson Holly Farms 400. The best battle on the racetrack at the moment for 2nd between Dale Earnhardt and Mark Martin.
Right here's a good race. Rusty Wallace trying to move on the inside. Finish Schrader, and they bump. And here's Darrell Waltrip. Surely Darrell don't go in there 3 wide. Well, now Rusty backs out. And
boy, there are battles all over this racetrack. Here, Sterling Marlin is being passed by Alan Kulwicki.
And Brett Bodine is right behind Kulwicki, trying to get inside Sterling Marlin and knock him back another spot.
Marlin
handle has gone away on Marlin's car.
He's lost several positions here in the last 5 or 6 laps. Sterling Marlin has. He was running 2nd. He's now back to 6th.
And boy, there's a big pack of cars right behind him, too. That'll be up there knocking on his door very shortly.
pulls right up on the back bumper of Kowicki.
And here comes that pack that you referred to, Ned. That's being led by Michael Waltrip in the number 30 car, then Ken Schrader, Rusty Wallace, and Darrell Waltrip.
I hope Michael knows Kenny's out there. He did.
Here goes Darrell down on the inside of Rusty, while Michael is down on the inside of Schrader. And look at the pack they're running on.
That's Chad Little on the inside of lap car. There's not going to be room.
3 abreast coming into 1. Chad Little down there on the inside. He backs off and lets everybody go.
Darrell Waltrip had to back off and lose the track position he had down on the inside of Rusty Wallace as Michael continues to root down on the inside of Sterling Marlin.
And Bill Elliott up on the outside, trying to make that outside groove work. Tries to get by Rusty Wallace. Rusty gives him the room. Bill drives down in turn 1, the red number 9.
Sixth, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, and 11th and 12th for that matter, running right here. The leader of the race is Kyle Petty. He has a few car lengths lead on Dale Earnhardt.
But Earnhardt is reeling him in, Bob. He has definitely gained on since he got in second place. That's Rob Moroso, who had just gone a lap down after being black flagged. And Mark Martin coming right along with Earnhardt towards the front.
Michael Waltrip on the outside of Ken Schrader.
Schrader's the guy on the move. The white 25 is the fellow on the move. Gets by Michael Walker, picks up another spot. Meanwhile, Sterling Marlin losing more spots. Running second just a few laps ago. He's drifted back to about 10th spot.
Darrell Waltrip moves around him. Ricky Rudd trying to figure a way. Look at the back end of Marlin's car. It is definitely a little loose.
And here comes Ricky now to the inside going into turn 1, and he will try to take another spot away from Sterling Marlin. Jerry, what might be wrong with that 94 car?
Well, Ned Jarrett was exactly right. The car just gotten very loose this morning. When the teams arrived at the racetrack, it was overcast and quite cool. Now it appears the sun is out here and shining. It's warmed up some 15 degrees. The car's gotten very, very loose. So I take a chance of possibly getting a caution flag and bring the Sunoco Oldsmobile down pit road and tighten it up.
He's definitely lost the handle on it, as Rudd has been able to pass him now. Meanwhile, back up front, toward the front of the pack, that is, there's Brett Bodine and Alan Kowicki, the side cam on Brett Bodine's car. You can notice the tire mark, the wheel mark on Kowicki's car, right there by the number 7.
Yeah, having for 4th.
That's correct. The race for 4th.
And trouble up here. Kyle Petty, the leader, is in the wall.
Unbelievable. Kyle Petty has spun and come in contact with the wall in the 4th turn.
Well, there's no caution.
Oh, that's a tough race for Kyle.
Yes, it is, and for a lot of other drivers who were hoping for a caution.
So now Dale Earnhardt is going to lead the race, or has led the race, and he got his 5 bonus points there. 5 bonus points for the 3 car, and also Mark Martin has his bonus point.
And there's Gary Nelson, the crew chief on Kyle Petty's car, and he's wondering what in the world happened. Here is a replay of the incident.
Goes in turn 3, we see no problem. All of a sudden, the car just goes right out from under Kyle.
And there goes Dale Earnhardt and Mark Martin to the low side, and they now have 1st and 2nd position. Don't think there was any contact with the wall, no serious contact with the wall, so the car wasn't damaged in any way, but he sure did lose some spots.
Yes, he did. In fact, the car is not running up to par, Bob, the way it was running earlier. Of course, sliding on those tires and spinning out the way he did, that certainly would not allow it to get as good a traction as it was getting before.
There's our leader, Earnhardt, going by the Jeff Purvis car. Neil Bonnett's automobile.
And so does Mark Martin. So now both of them are on equal footing again. Each has won 5 points, 5 bonus points for leading a lap. And the separation between Martin and Earnhardt still 16 in the battle for the Winston Cup. Look at the last 4 finishes for Dale Earnhardt. 2 wins, a 3rd, and a 2nd.
I tell you what, if you were looking at a program at a racetrack, you'd have to bet on that fellow, wouldn't you?
But Mark Martin has not had all that bad of finishes.
Davey Allison spins over in turn 2.
That's the second time that Davey Allison has spun in that particular portion of the racetrack.
He just made a 360 at Bob and just keeps going. He and Dale Jarrett were racing for position there. Jarrett had just got by and the back end of the Havoline Ford just went around and he continues on.
No caution. Here's a replay of it.
Goes around, he gets her collected, bunch of cars go by on the outside, he takes off again.
Now the leader, Dale Earnhardt, begins to work some of the slower traffic. That's Jimmy Spencer on the outside and Davey Allison just ahead of him. Allison, who has just spun. Jimmy Means in car number 52 has already been lapped. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who's with Gary Nelson.
Gary, what did Kyle say happened up there?
He said nobody hit him. He got a little anxious on the throttle, and I guess he just got away from him. But the car is really running good. I think we got plenty of time to make up the lost ground.
You guys are scrambling. Are you going to make a pit stop? Does he have a tire going down?
Well, he said it's really shaking because he flat spotted him now. But we're going to have to hang out there. At least try and stay the lead lap as long as we can. The leaders aren't too far behind us, but I think we can hang in there, hope for a caution here pretty quick.
Looking for a yellow flag here in the pink pits.
Kyle Petty falls from the lead to 22nd position, while Dale Earnhardt assumes the lead. And Earnhardt was breathing down Kyle's neck when that incident occurred. And as you heard Gary Nelson say, he got back on the throttle just a little too soon, apparently. Mark Martin staying within a car length and a half of the leader, Dale Earnhardt. And now Martin closes in even further and takes a look to the outside.
But no room there that time.
And a spin over turn 3. Dave Marks has spun right in front of the leaders. Oh. Jimmy Spencer runs in the back of Mark Martin.
And Kyle Petty's going to get lapped, coming down to get the caution.
Yellow flag is out. There you can see some damage on the right rear of the Mark Martin car. And there is Dave Marcus's machine that now finally fires and gets away after spinning in the third corner.
We see the damage on the 71 car. Davey Allison spun into the back of the 71 car is what caused that damage. We see the damage to Davey's car.
Boy, Davey Allison is having a heck of a day already. Involved in 3 incidents here in the first 77 laps. So the caution is out and the pits are open now because the pace car has formed the pack. And here comes Dale Earnhardt and Mark Martin and the others in for some routine service. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
I would expect to see a 4-tire change on almost everyone in the pits here as Mark Martin brings the Folgers Ford to a halt. Remember, he has some sheet metal damage in the rear of the car. Earnhardt on the top of your screen, Martin and the Folgers Ford on the bottom. Our 2-point leaders here, left side down tires for Earnhardt, the Goodwin Chevrolet. They have finished the right side of Martin's car, and they move around to the left side. They're not worrying about the fender and sheet metal now. They're just changing tires. Earnhardt's crew working on that Goodwin's car. Further up pit road, Martin now pitting down for turn 1. Earnhardt is gone. Now Martin on the deck. He pulls away.
The race is on out of the pits after some routine service during this caution period. Earnhardt with a good pit stop by the Richard Childress, Kirk Shelberdine crew. And there you can see that Kyle Petty will be right behind Dale Earnhardt on the restart. We'll take another break and be back with more from North Wilkesboro. They're lining up for a restart here at the Tyson Holly Farms 400 Winston Cup race. We are about to go green from a caution period caused by this. Dave Marcus spinning in the third corner.
There's some contact. Someone hit Dave. He spun. And watch Davey Allison come in the picture. He backs into the 71 car. They meet back end to back end. But look here. Here's a Winston Cup point leader, Mark Martin. He stops to try to avoid the accident. Jimmy Spencer in the Heinz Pontiac comes along, runs in the rear of the car.
Let's go to Jerry Punch quickly.
Word from Steve Mills, sheet metal damage only on the Mark Martin car. And they made the pit stop. They made a major chassis adjustment. The car was too tight. They tried to loosen it up a little bit. We'll see if it runs some better. Getting back to green flag. Bob?
All right, and Dale Earnhardt leads them down with Mark Martin running in second position. Brett Bodine third, Alan Kulwicki fourth, and Bill Elliott is 5th. Let's go to John Kernan. Any adjustment on the Earnhardt car during that series of pit stops, John?
Well, Bob Dale had radioed in and told Richard Childers and Kirk Shelverdine that the car was just a little bit loose. So they put on 4 new sticker tires and also made a chassis adjustment in the rear to tighten the car up. But Richard has told Dale, he says, hey, you're going to have to live with a push for the first few laps.
Well, he's showing no signs of giving up that lead. Now here does come Mark Martin to the inside going into turn number 1. He wants that lead from Earnhardt. Can't get it at the moment. And by the way, both Terry Labonte and Harry Gant have re-entered the race after that crash here on the main straightaway early in the event. Let's take a look at a Big A Auto Parts pit stop performance. Look at the crew time on Dale Earnhardt, 21.8. It took the driver 14.4 to enter and exit the pits, total of 36.2. And now compare that to Mark Martin, 25.5 on the crew, a little slower, 12.8 for the driver, 38.3 on the Mark Martin car.
One reason the crew was a little bit slower on Mark Martin's car was the chassis adjustment, because there's only so many people allowed across the wall. One of those persons had to stop the job that he normally does to make the chassis adjustment.
And so the 2 drivers involved in the battle for the Winston Cup for 1990, which pays $1 million to the winner, are involved in the battle for the lead here at North Wilkesboro. It's Dale Earnhardt leading. He's second in points, and Mark Martin, the points leader, trying to wrench the lead from Earnhardt.
I believe Mark Martin's car is a little bit faster right now than Dale Earnhardt, but he just can't get around him.
And I tell you what, folks, we're seeing some stuff dragging the racetrack in the rear of that car. I don't know. It looks like it might be sheet metal. Look on Mark Martin's car. There's something dragged behind, almost touching the racetrack.
Yeah, there you can see it on the right rear of the car.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything that's hurting its ability to run to it. It certainly doesn't appear that way, at least.
Mark Martin is just all over Earnhardt. Now, once again, he takes a look to the inside. Oh, I thought they were going to touch. Martin fighting back. Can't take the lead from Dale.
Wow. Remember last year, the last lap, when Earnhardt and Ricky Rudd got together down in turn 1?
Oh, yeah. Very well.
But it's too early in this race to be taking any major chances. Now Earnhardt goes a little high. Martin tries to stick the nose under there, but that won't work either. That Chevrolet's pretty strong off the turns and up that backstretch. There's Kyle Petty. He would like to put up past both of them and get back to the lead lap.
If Kyle would just get out of the way, we could really get a good shot at that sheet metal hanging down off the back of Mark Martin's car.
Yeah, he's got our view blocked.
He'd love to get out of the way up in front of that 3 car. On the inside once again down in turn 1.
But he just can't get it turned, then he can get the traction off of that turn. He can run in there, but he just can't quite make it happen.
So Mark Martin trying desperately to get the lead from Dale Earnhardt. We asked Mark, is it tough to race someone like Dale, whom you consider a very good friend?
We have probably mutual respect for each other. We don't hang out with each other. But when we do, you know, we get along good. You know, Dale Earnhardt is the best in my book. And I'm just fortunate to have a chance to race him for the championship due to the equipment that Jack Roush and all the guys have put me in. And, you know, we've got a good relationship on the racetrack. Not everybody can say that.
Mutual respect. Good words. Summing up the feelings that Mark Martin has for Dale Earnhardt.
I tell you what, they both know they're in for a contest. Earnhardt knows the championship is not going to be a cakewalk. Mark Martin, Jack Roush, his crew, they know that Earnhardt is there. And if they just sneeze, they're going to lose.
And you can follow the battle for the Winston Cup right here on ESPN.
There's Dave Marcus has just gone another lap down in the Big Apple Market Chevrolet. Dave was running very strong in the first part of the race. He had moved up, and then all of a sudden the car seemed to start getting loose, and then he was involved in that wreck, and now it's gone another lap down.
Earnhardt continuing to lead Mark Martin, and third place Brett Bodine. And we do have a crash. Rob Moroso has come to a rest against the wall in the backstretch. Rob Moroso bringing out another caution flag.
And Kyle Petty is trying desperately to get by Earnhardt, but I'm sure that Earnhardt's spotter is going to tell him he's on the way.
There is Kyle on the outside, but he will not get the lap back as they cross the line with Earnhardt ahead. Here's the tail end of the incident up off turn number 2.
I think Rob just lost it as he came off of turn 2. The back end got around, spun him out against the wall, and everybody gets by.
And he has the car started again, and he's headed back for pit road, so we shouldn't be long in this yellow period.
Well, will they pit, Bob? What do you think?
No, I don't think so.
Cecil Gordon with a board. There's Ernie Elliott with a board. All up and down pit road. Is that a bluff?
Well,
I don't know. We'll know here in just a moment.
Jerry Punch, what do you think?
You know, a couple of months ago, I was involved with a movie, but these guys on pit road here holding these boards are the best actors I've ever seen. They're out here trying to bluff people right and left. I mean, if they were to pit now with track position so important in the Winston Cup Championship and someone spin in front of you back in the pack, no way, guys. Cecil, climb over the wall, big guy. These guys aren't going to pit right now.
Nobody fooled anybody else out there, I tell you. After 102 laps, we're more than a fourth of the way through this event already. It's Dale Earnhardt leading Mark Martin, Brett Bodine, Alan Kowicki, and Bill Elliott. And here comes the field off of the fourth corner, and we're set to go back to racing. The green flag is out once again.
Earnhardt gets the jump on Kyle Petty once again and keeps him a lap down.
The blue car is Kyle Petty, the fellow who sit on the pole, but spun earlier in the race, got a lap down, now trying desperately to get it back. Black 3, Dale Earnhardt. Here comes the brown 6, that's Mark Martin.
That's Hut Strickland in number 12, the red car. He's also a lap down. The third place car is the green 26, driven by Brett Bodine.
There are 18 cars in the lead lap, and the 42 car of Kyle Petty is running in 19th place. Hut Strickland is running in 20th.
Kowicki in the number 7 car is fourth. We're inside Brett Bodine's machine now as he tries to go to the inside of Hut Strickland in Bobby Allison's car. We have a side cam and a regular in-car camera with Brett Bodine, who was the winner here in the spring race, bringing home his first Winston Cup victory.
Brett running, of course, in third and fourth is Alan Kowicki. Fifth is Bill Elliott. Ken Schrader is sixth. Dick Trickle is seventh. Ricky Rudd eighth. Bernie Irvin ninth. In 10th place is Darrell Waltrip. Rusty Wallace is 11th. 12th is Sterling Marlin. 13th, Morgan Shepherd. 14th is Michael Waltrip. Dale Jarrett is 15th. Richard Petty 16th. Jeff Bodine 17th. And Bobby Hilland is 18th. Those are the 18 cars in the lead lap.
And Brett Bodine is able to pass Hut Strickland in the second turn. Well, Hut battling back on the backstretch, though.
Able to get by Strickland. Here comes Kowicki. Number 7, Alan Kowicki, Bill Elliott, number 9, Ken Schrader, all trying to get by Strickland. And you can see just how difficult passing is on this 5/8 mile speedway. That's why Jerry Quinn said they would not pit a moment ago, to save that track position. Stay as close to the front as they possibly could.
Now Elliott passes Hut Strickland, and Ken Schrader will make the attempt. There's Rudd and the 66 car of Dick Trickle. Meanwhile, look at Mark Martin. He is still trying to get that lead away from Earnhardt.
You know, that really surprises me. Mark Martin, I felt like, would just be content to sit back there right behind him. But he is as aggressive as he's been in the last 10 races. That car must be feeling awfully good.
I think we accused him of taking it easy at Darlington, and he told us the next week that he wasn't in any way, shape, or form, and he's showing it this afternoon. Jerry?
as you watch the Mark Martin car trying to get underneath Dale Earnhardt, the problem Martin is having, the car is still tight. Remember, they made a major chassis adjustment in their last pit stop to loosen the car up, but the car is still tight from the middle of the corner coming out. He can get the nose of his car underneath Earnhardt going into turn 1 or going into turn 3, but he can't hold it down there because the car wants to push up across the racetrack. As the laps continue to run under green, maybe it'll adjust itself and have a chance to get underneath Earnhardt under the green flag conditions.
Wow, can you imagine what that car is going to do when they get it set up right?
Well, 50 or 60 laps of green flag racing should take care of that pushing problem. As the tires get hotter, they normally have a tendency for the car to loosen up or the back end try to spin out. If that's the case, Mark Martin should get stronger as the race goes on.
Here's Alan Kulwicki and Bill Elliott and Kyle Petty. Remember, Petty is a lap down. Mark Martin looks to the inside off the second corner again, has to fall back into line. There's a lot happening on this racetrack. We'll try to cover as much of it as we possibly can, whether it be up front or back in the pack. Like here, Schrader moving past Kyle Petty. Now Dick Trickle going inside of Kyle. Alan Kulwicki is in 4th position. Elliott is 5th, and then Schrader is in 6th. Of course, the winner at Dover a couple of weeks ago. And there's the Tom Hardy Pontiac driven by Dick Trickle. There you can see Dick's progress. On the 25th lap, he was 19, moved to 14th at the end of 65, and now at the end of 116 laps, Dick Trickle has moved all the way to 7.
And you can see the damage on the right front of that automobile. He was involved in that first spin. Did not spin out, did not cause a caution. You can see the damage to the car.
It's the kind of racetrack that Dick Trickle likes, having cut his teeth on some of the short tracks up in the Midwest. There's Ricky Rudd and Kyle Petty. And here comes Ernie Irvin in the number 4 car. We haven't seen much of Ernie, who didn't have a particularly good qualifying effort. Started back in 23rd position. There's Darrell Waltrip and Rusty Wallace, who at this time a year ago was himself in the battle for the Winston Cup, but not this year.
Darrell still trying to get his first win to keep his win streak alive.
Darrell Waltrip currently in 10th position, trying to keep alive a 15-year winning streak, and Rusty Wallace, who is currently 5th in the points.
Darrell Waltrip, one of the many drivers that drove for Junior Johnson over the years, and boy, did they have some success here at North Wilkesboro. Junior and Darrell, what a combination for several years.
Yeah, they were almost unbeatable. Now Rusty trying to make a move on the outside, and he does. Darrell doesn't fight him that much. Lets him go on by.
Meanwhile, Jeff Bodine in Junior Johnson's car is back in about
16th now, Bob. He has moved up around Dale Jarrett and Bobby Hillen, and now working on Michael Waltrip, who is running in the 15th position.
So Jeff still has a long way to go to get back to the front. Meanwhile, up front, it is Alan Kulwicki and Bill Elliott that are rubbing fenders, and Dick Trickle comes right along to make it a 3-car battle.
Elliott trying to make a move up on the outside of Alan Kulwicki. Kulwicki giving him the running room up there, and that allows Dick Trickle to move down on the inside of Bill Elliott. He's just hoping Kulwicki will go on maybe and open that spot up for him.
4th, 5th, and 6th right here.
I think all that's going to do is cost Bill the spot. Because Trickle does pull up on the inside.
Kulwicki staving off the challenge of Elliott for the moment, but now Elliott moves alongside of Allen going into turn number 3. They go through there 2 wide. Good battle of Fords here.
are racing hard, but they're giving each other the room they need to race. They're not doing a lot of beating and banging. We come up on Davey Allison. Davey's car sort of battered. And now Kowicki seems to have the advantage, but Elliott's going to try that outside once again.
And meanwhile, Dick Trickle in the 66 car just sitting there watching what happens ahead of him.
Now look, Ken Schrader has caught up to them while they do that racing. He'll be looking for a place to go himself.
These cars looks like they're almost identical. The 9 car is sticking very well, but he's taking such a long way around the racetrack.
Yeah.
That's the thing that enables Kowicki to stay abreast with him.
Then in years past, we have seen, and many times when you raced here, that as the race went on, that groove would move up. In fact, they would get up and almost touch the wall, particularly in turns 1 and 2. It hasn't moved that high yet. Doubt if we'll see it get that high, but it is impressive to see Elliott working as well as he is in the second group.
Sure is.
And Ricky Rudd has a great view of all this racing that's going on just ahead of him. Between his teammate, Ken Schrader, and Trickle, and Elliott and Kowicki.
Schrader's able to get by Trickle, caught him behind Dave Marcus, uses 71 cars to pick.
So that settles down just a little bit. Meanwhile, it is still Dale Earnhardt leading the race now with about a 2-car length advantage on Mark Martin. And look at Brett Bodine, who has closed in on both Martin and Earnhardt. Jerry?
Well, indeed, both the Earnhardt crew and the Martin crew have been having the stopwatch every lap on that car number 26 in Quaker State Buick of Brett Bodine. They knew before the race started that Bodine would be awfully strong here. It's the same car he won with in the spring. It's the exact same race car that Ricky Rudd had here last year. You know what happened on that final lap?
Well, it is a strong car on this racetrack. So Brett Bodine hanging in there in 3rd position now at the moment, just a few car lengths behind the leader Earnhardt and 2nd place Mark Martin.
Earnhardt's car seems to be working a little bit better now. It's pushing a little bit when they made the chassis adjustment, put new tires on it, but it seems to have worked itself out.
It seems like that after a few laps, Earnhardt's car gets a little bit better, and Mark Martin's car does not improve that much after a few laps.
Well, we've mentioned a couple of times already in the show about last year. The Holly Farms 400 last year in North Wilkesboro was one of the most exciting races of the entire year. It's the subject of our Purolator replay. Winston Cup replays are brought to you by Purolator, the world's largest filter company. After a 2-week delay because of rain, the early battle for the lead of the Holly Farms 400 in 1989 was between Dale Earnhardt and Mark Martin. Rusty Wallace was now the points leader, but the battle of the day was between Earnhardt and Ricky Rudd. We were riding with Michael Waltrip and his side cam when he spun. And then later in heavy traffic, a bump with the King. But it was the final lap that produced 1989's most dramatic moment.
Dale Earnhardt as they go into turn number 1, and both of them spin.
And Jeff Bodine takes the lead.
Bodine led only the final lap of the race to take the victory, while the Quaker State and the Goodwrench teams faced off on pit road. Earnhardt fell 37 points behind Wallace. It was the 7th and final time for Jeff to share a victory lane with car owner Rick Hendrick. That was last year. This year, Jack Roush and the Folgers crew watched their driver Mark Martin, currently the 1st in the points, 2nd in the race to Dale Earnhardt. We'll be back with more right after this. Once again, the caution flag is out here at North Wilkesboro because of a spin up in turn number 2 involving Hut Strickland. Here comes the field. Let's go to John Kernan in Dale Earnhardt's pit.
Earnhardt pulls the Goodwrench Chevrolet in. They got to work on the right side. Now they will make a chassis adjustment as this will be a 4-tire change. They'll put sticker tires all the way around. Richard Childers says that they still want to get it fixed so it will get off the corner better, and there they go with the chassis adjustment. How about it, Jerry, down at Mark's pit?
Likewise, right side tires are already on. They're now jacked to the left side of the car, but they have made a chassis adjustment here as well. Remember, Martin's car was still very tight. They want to loosen up. They got to hustle. They want to beat Earnhardt out. Earnhardt going by. Now Martin next, turn 1.
Dale wins the race out of the pits. Martin will line up second, then Kulwicki, and then Dick Trickle, and then Brett Bodine. Let's take a look at the reason why we are in this caution period. Once again, the incident up in turn number 2.
Car number 12 of Hut Strickland in tight traffic with Michael Waltrip and Richard Petty, and Hut spins to the outside. Everybody else gets by. Hut gets away himself and will be coming into the pits this time around.
That was our 5th caution flag of the afternoon. Here you can see Terry Labonte at the lower right portion of your screen coming into for a pit stop. He, of course, was involved in that accident in the very early going of the race while he was running in second position. He's running without the hood on the car, so it isn't exactly a perfectly tuned aerodynamic machine, but he's still out there trying to get as many points as he possibly can. Dale Earnhardt leads. We will be back with more racing from North Wilkesboro. NASCAR visiting today North Wilkesboro Speedway in North Carolina for the Tyson Holly Farms 400, race 25 out of 29. And here are the top 5 with 143 laps completed. It's Dale Earnhardt leading. Mark Martin running in second position, then Alan Kulwicki. Bobby Hillen runs 4th, and Dick Trickle is in 5th position. We are just about to go back to green after a spin in turn number 2 involving Hut Strickland.
Boy, an excellent pit stop for Bobby Hillen, who was running 17th before this caution came out. Now he's up in 4th.
And the crowd once again rises to its feet as the green flag comes out, and we resume competition on the 146th lap. Kyle Petty, the pole sitter, still is a lap down. He has tried to get it back on a couple of occasions, but when the green comes out, Earnhardt gets the jump and puts Kyle behind him, and Kyle has not been able to make up that lost lap.
He might this time. He looks inside Earnhardt. Not able to get alongside going in the corner. Oh, but he did. Maybe this is what Mark Martin's been waiting for, to follow Kyle Petty through.
He opened the door there, at least. Gave some running room as Kyle does get back in the lead lap.
Yes, indeed. Kyle Petty is back in the lead lap. And look at Mark Martin. He's going to try the high side of Earnhardt.
As the pit reported, both those cars made chassis adjustments. Let's see which one worked out the best.
Dale maintains the advantage over Mark by about 2 or 3 car lengths. Take a look at our Big A Auto Parts pit stop performance on Brett Bodine. Took him 14.3 seconds to get in and out of the pits, and 23.9 for the crew, a total of 38.2 seconds for the Larry McReynolds led team.
But what happened? He's back in about 7th spot, or the jack was hung under the car. He started to take off a little bit too soon and started dragging the jack down pit road. They had to stop and drag the jack out from under.
Riding with Brett, that's Rusty Wallace just ahead. Now, if the race were to end right now, Mark Martin would have 3,864 points and be 11 ahead of Dale Earnhardt. Both of them have achieved their bonus points for leading a lap. So if the race were to end now, Earnhardt would be 11 behind, and Jeff Bodine would be 366 points behind.
Of course, Bodine back in the 12th position on the restart of this race. 19 cars in the lead lap now.
Now let's take a look at scoring the championship. The winner of the event gets 175 points. Those who finish 2nd through 6th get 5 fewer points than that, as they decrease by 5 points on each finishing position. 7th through 12th, 4 positions, and rather 4 points, and 13th through last, decreased 3 points per position.
And there is bonus points. If you lead a lap, you get 5 points. If you lead the most laps in the event, you get another 5 points. So Dale Earnhardt, that's why he's trying to stay up there. If he can lead the most laps today, he'll gain 5 more points. And that number we saw a moment ago, 11, will be 6.
Yeah, and if he does it, nobody else. That's 5 bonus points that no one else can get. That's only 1 per race.
Rick Mast and Jimmy Means, the only 2 cars who are behind the wall and out of the race. Yeah, Earnhardt can lead the most laps. He could really cut this thing down to a small percentage as we go to the next race. Battles back in the pack. Here's Ricky Rudd moving to the inside. Morgan Shepherd, that's Bobby Hill in the number 8 car, and Bill Elliott there also. We're inside Rudd's car.
We saw that 15 Motorcraft Ford spin early in the race, get a lap down. Has gotten a lap back and is racing with these guys for position.
Yeah, Morgan's car is strong today.
And here comes Junior's car.
Jeff Bodine is making up some ground. There he is, right behind Elliott.
The red T-Bird on the very end.
Uh-oh, contact between Shepherd and Hillen gets Bobby a little out of shape, and Rudd passes to the inside.
I believe Hillen only changed 2 tires on that pit stop. He was a very good pit stop. We mentioned that, but I think he only changed 2 tires, and that probably is hurting on the racetrack.
Boy, Dick Trickle's 66 car is running very, very well today. He is currently in 3rd position, racing there with Alan Kowicki and Rusty Wallace. That's 3rd, 4th, and 5th right there. He started in 21st position, Trickle did.
That Dick Trickle's car owner, he had a few victories here with Junior Johnson. Cale Yarbrough, the owner of that Top Arctic Pontiac number 66.
There you can see his last 4 finishes. They include a top 10 position in 7th. And look at this. Kyle Petty is going a lap down again, or is just about to. Remember, he passed Dale a while ago after the green came out and got the lap back, but now Earnhardt is about to put him a lap down again.
And Mark Martin just sitting back, watched it all. They wasn't that I'm impressed with those radial tires today.
Yeah, they're doing a good job.
Here comes Rusty Wallace to the inside of Alan Kowicki, trying to pick up 4th position.
Rusty gets a spot, and there goes Ken Schrader taking the spot away. And Brett Bodine's going to follow Schrader through.
Brett was one of the fastest cars on the racetrack before that caution period. Now he's trying to get back up front again. Wallace sliding high, opening the door for Schrader. Trying to take advantage of it, and he does.
Car seems to be sticking pretty good down on the inside. Rust is not sticking quite as well down on the inside.
Now, Bodine's going to try the same road that Schrader did, but Rusty comes down the hill, blocks that.
Fifth and 6th right here. Schrader, Wallace, and Brett Bodine. And right behind them, the 15 car of Morgan Shepherd, and of course Ricky Rudd. This is 7th through 10th, a 5-car battle going on right here.
Alan Kowicki running 7th, Morgan Shepherd 8th, 9th is Ricky Rudd.
Those 5 cars are Fords. They have the Chevrolet of Ricky Rudd sandwiched in between them.
Shepard.
I think all he needs, fellas, is a little bit of track position. Because he did unlap himself, as we said earlier, and just drove away from Kyle Daly, who was leading the race at that time, and has been sort of playing catch-up from the back since then, but he's able to move around Alan Kowicki.
Ricky Rudd now tries Allen on the inside.
I think the last time a Ford won here at North Wilkesboro was a Bud Moore car. Bobby Allison was the driver, and that was back, what, about 1980?
1980, exactly, yep.
10 years ago. Now Bill Ellis trying to get by Kowicki. This is looking out the back wing of Ricky Rudd's Levi Garrett Chevrolet at the 2 Fords.
So what started to be a very cloudy and a very hazy and somewhat rain-threatening day, now the sunshine is out, and it's shining on Dale Earnhardt, who leads the Tyson Holly Farms 400 at the end of 173 laps. Dale Earnhardt continues to lead this race, and he is pulling away from Mark Martin.
And it looks like the changes they made on his race car has worked very well, because he is able to pull away from Martin. Martin has a, what, 2 or 3 second lead now, Ned?
Yeah, he's has almost a full straightaway.
There's our second place car, Mark Martin. Our Winston Cup point leader.
A little over 2.5 seconds, but it's a pretty good distance.
Currently, 16 cars are on the lead lap with Dale Earnhardt. Dick Trickle is in 3rd position. Here is the 8th and 9th position cars. Bill Elliott at number 9 and Ricky Rudd at number 5.
They're pretty well out there battling by themselves right now. Those tires are beginning to get heated up a little bit. They've been out there a while on them and not sticking quite as good as they did, of course, when they were much fresher.
We're only about 18 laps away from the halfway point of this event. Look at Elliott's last 4 finishes. Very impressive, with a couple of 4th place finishes, a win at Dover, and of course an 8th. Now here comes Ricky Rudd with a 7th and 8th, the 32nd and the 28th. Remember, Elliott was out of the top 5 in points until just a few races ago, and because of those last 4 finishes, he has moved to 4th in the Winston Cup point standings.
If you can have that kind of finishes, that kind of consistent, you can move up in a hurry.
That's Davey Allison that Bill Elliott's going by. We see the back end, some heavy damage in that automobile.
He has been involved in at least 3 spins. Came in contact with Dave Marcus over the 3rd corner a few laps ago, resulting in the damage there on the rear end of that Avalon Texaco Ford. There is Jeff Bodine in the number 11 car that we saw moving by him, and now Jeff finds himself in the top 10.
He is another driver that's been playing catch-up after they had the ignition wire problem early in the race.
Junior Johnson's Budweiser Ford in the top 10. Started 19th. These guys blew their qualifying engine during a practice session just before qualifying earlier in the weekend. Had to qualify with an engine that wasn't quite fast enough. There is Darrell Walter from the 17 car, who has managed to find his way around the Alan Kowicki machine.
His crew has perhaps told him, if you got anything left, Darrell, you better step it up, because about a straightaway behind is Dale Earnhardt that's coming up on him. Of course, Walter currently running in the 13th position.
Sterling Marlin there, you had a shot at him, the number 94 car. There he is. He started 3rd in this event.
And we saw his car get very loose at the beginning of the race, and I'm not sure they ever really got it straightened out. There's Dale Earnhardt has just put a lap on Michael Waltrip, who is running in the 16th position. So now just 15 cars on the lead lap as Earnhardt is mowing them down. There's Bobby Hillen right in front of him. Bobby running in the 14th position. And Bobby was in 4th place after the last caution.
wow, the 25 car has come on here all of a sudden and moved to third position, dropping Dick Trickle back to Trickle. Spin, hits the wall. He had a loose wheel. We just had that told us. And as he went into turn number 3, the car would not turn. He banged the wall. Now the wheel is really loose as he comes down. John Kernan is right there with the yellow flag out.
A lot of damage on the right side. In fact, the car, so much damage from flat tires, they've got having to lift the car up before they can get the jack underneath. Now the jack goes working. They will pull away some of the fender parts. Oh, what a tough break for Dick Trickle, who had just radioed in a few laps earlier and said he had a loose wheel and that they were going to pit in just a couple of laps to try and fix that. And now it appears that his hopes of winning or a top 10 finish have ended as Dick shuts the motor off.
Tough break for Dick Trickle as the yellow flag comes out for the 6th time this afternoon. Crew assessing the damage there on the right front of the car. Meanwhile, here we go with the pit stop.
A much-needed pit stop for the Folgers crew here for Mark Martin. They have been adjusting on the car, trying to make the car handle better. Earnhardt on the top of the screen, Martin's crew on the bottom. You watch the two crews going to work on the car now. Left side now for Earnhardt's car. They're still working on the right side. It'll be a lengthy stop for the Folgers crew. They're going to try to take a rubber out of the right front spring to try to loosen this car up. The car still very tight. You saw Earnhardt being able to pull away. Still working on the right side. Earnhardt's car already down pit road, back on the track. Now they finally have got the tire back on the right front here in the Folgers crew. They'll run around to the left side of the car. We think it will be a lengthy stop here. Other cars now coming down pit road, left side tires. Trouble with the left rear now. They're unable to get the left rear tire off. And they're going to have a lot of ground to make up. Now they finally get the left rear tire off. New left rear tire going on. And they are finally off the jack. A long pit stop and a major adjustment in the right front there for Mark Martin.
Boy, you guys talk about track position. He really lost it.
He sure did. And that'll be tough to make up.
Here is the view of the crash that Brett Bodine had. You can see that Trickle's car just took off. It wouldn't turn as he tried to take it into turn 3.
Went right out of the picture, didn't it?
I think the right front tire goes flat all of a sudden. And maybe that's what he was feeling earlier was a flat tire. And into the wall he goes.
And Mark Martin is back in, Jerry.
They were trying to pull a rubber out of the right front, and the rubber is simply a spacer between the coils of the spring. They weren't able to get it out a moment ago. He had to go ahead and put the tire back on and go ahead and change left side tires to try to keep them losing a lap. Now they are back in here. You see the crew working on the right front of the car. They are trying to get that rubber pushed away from the spring. That rubber holds the right front of the car down on the racetrack and puts more pressure across the left rear. Pace car coming this way. They'll have to hustle. Robin Pemberton slams the right front tire back on. Steve Mill trying to keep the crew calm down here. Here comes the pace car. They're going to have to hustle, and it just gets out of pit road as the pace car comes to turn 1.
Boy, that was close, but that crew has done this all year long. They have come to the forefront when they're needed. They've kept Mark on the lead lap, and they have done it again, but by just inches, literally. So the field remains under caution here. Mark Martin stays on the lead lap, but now has a lot of cars between himself and the leader, Dale Earnhardt. Set to go back to racing at the Tyson Holly Farms 400 Winston Cup race from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway. Here's the green flag, and we are back to racing on lap 200. We are exactly halfway through this event. Dale Earnhardt is the leader. Running in second position is going to be Morgan Shepherd. Third would be the 26 car of Brett Bodine. Fourth is Rusty Wallace, and in fifth position, Junior Johnson's car with Jeff Bodine behind the wheel.
Well, he and Morgan Shepherd have really gained on that track position situation that we mentioned a little bit earlier. They've been fighting their way up through the pack, been running very good, but just couldn't get the track position, but now they have it. Shepherd running in second, Jeff Bodine running fifth.
There are two cars between the leader and second place. Both of them lap cars, of course, with Kyle Petty and Michael Waltrip. Now Morgan Shepherd goes to the inside of Michael as we ride along with Brett Bodine as he tries to do the same in the third turn. And he does that successfully. Bodine is now third, and Mark Martin has a lot of racetrack between himself and Dale Earnhardt. Look at the traffic jam ahead of him. 3 abreast in the third to fourth turn.
He does not want to be in that traffic jam, but he didn't have any choice. His car was just not that good. The crew decided, hey, we're going to make some changes. They took a real gamble, but like all year, the crew came through again.
Still have half of the race to go, so he decided to gamble and try to get the car a little better. But he now is like Jeff Bodine and the car number 15, Morgan Shepherd. He's got a lot of making up to do as far as track position is concerned.
I sure wouldn't want to be in that traffic jam that he has.
Right now, he's 3 abreast. Oh. Trying to follow Sterling Marlin through. Marlin trying to get by the 7. Wow.
And while all this is happening, Earnhardt just continues to set his own pace. Martin coming back from adversity last week, remember, at Martinsville. First he had a brake problem, then a spark plug wire came off. How in the world, Mark, did you overcome all of these problems?
Something flew up, a chunk of rubber flew up or something like that, knocked the plug wire off, and we hung on and got a caution before we got lapped, and we were able to, the guys in the pits were just super. I mean, they got it back on in no time, and we're back in business. They adjusted the car for me and made it drive like it needed to drive, and they kept the thing going. It was, I can't say enough for the team. They've been the best this year.
You just can't say enough about Jack Roush and Robin Pemberton and Steve Meal and the other guys. They have 9 consecutive top 10 finishes and have come close on many occasions to having a disaster, but they've kept Mark in the lead lap, and they've kept him in the Winston Cup points lead. He's been there since Laguna Seca.
One of the most astounding stats that I've heard of this year, John Kernan mentioned at the very top of the show, that car, number 6, Mark Martin, has finished in the lead lap 21 of 24 events. I mean, that is, I would say incredible, but
it's incredible. And he has had the points lead since Sears Point. I was going to say this in Sears Point in California, the road course. He's moving up, though.
Moved on the outside of Sterling Marlin, trying to take another position. That would be for 10th.
And he gets by Sterling. Ernie Irvin, Kodak Chevrolet in front of Mark.
The 27 and 11 cars are battling out there. That's Rusty Wallace and Jeff Bodine. Don't count Jeff out of this thing by any means in another Junior Johnson victory. He has come from 19th starting position and now battles with Rusty Wallace for 4th.
This very car, the red 11, won the race just last week in Martinsville, Virginia. He pulls alongside Rusty, gets inside of him, coming off the corner. Passes the first line, going down in turn 1 and makes the pass.
So Jeff Bodine has moved to 4th position. He's had some pretty impressive finishes in the last 4 events.
They blew an engine at Dover, Delaware, that 36th place finish.
Rusty's also had a couple of top 10 finishes, 5th and 7th. Let's move a little bit further up the racetrack and take a look at some others that are up front with the leader, Dale Earnhardt. There's the 15 car of Morgan Shepherd. Now, Morgan has really come back from a tough beginning. On the 40th lap, he was way back in 28th. But look at the steady progression. 15th at the end of 80 laps, 9th at the end of 145 laps, and now he is in 2nd position, and he's not letting Earnhardt get away.
No, he isn't. And you got to be impressed not only with his driving, but also Bud Moore and the crew have done a great job of getting him back up there. They gave him a good race car, and he got back in the lead lap and has taken advantage of it.
But Dale Earnhardt from Kannapolis, North Carolina, is leading the Holly Farms 400 here at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. We'll be back with more right after this. 223 of 400 laps completed. The top 5, Dale Earnhardt, Morgan Shepherd, Brett Bodine, Jeff Bodine, and running in 5th is Bill Elliott. There's the leader, Dale Earnhardt. who has stretched out the advantage on Morgan Shepherd to a few car lengths. And Mark Martin, meanwhile, continues to try to move up through the traffic. He is currently in 11th position. If the race were to end right now, look at this. Look how the complexion of the points battle would change if the race were to end right now. Earnhardt would be on top of the Winston Cup points battle by 21 over Martin, and Jeff Bodine would be 333 behind.
That's that track position that we continually talk about. Mark Martin, the crew chose the last pit stop, the last yellow flag, to make a lot of drastic changes on the automobile. Went completely to the rear of the field. Back to 15th, 16th spot. He's working his way back, but it'll take him the rest of the day to get back to the front if he can.
Yeah, there were 13 cars on the lead lap, so he went back to 13th after making that pit stop. But not only did he have those 13 cars, but he had an equal number of cars out there that were at least one lap down, and he's had to pass those cars, many of them at least.
Dale Earnhardt has won 8 times this year in Winston Cup competition, but is still second in points.
Martin now has moved up to 9th, fellas, so he is gradually picking off a couple of cars.
But after a few laps, they're able to run with this car for just a few laps. Earnhardt for 15, 20 laps is not that good, but then he just starts stretching it out a little bit each and every lap.
Watch for your favorite car and driver as we lock down our shot here. There is Jeff Bodine passing the line right there with Bill Ellie. Here comes Rod Schrader. There is Mark Martin right there, 9.5 seconds behind. We're timing the lap of Earnhardt, the leader. But he had a 9.5 second advantage on Mark Martin, 20.8 seconds. There is Jeff. That's 108.173 miles an hour. Right there is Mark right there at the line, ahead of Alan Kowicki and Sterling Marlin.
And here comes Earnhardt about to put another lap on Rick Wilson, the food line car number 75. And Sterling Marlin is stalled.
Just off of turn number 2, the car is rolling, but the yellow comes out. Yep. 7th caution of the afternoon.
Boy, Mark Martin needs this desperately. Don't you know there's jubilation going on down in the Folgers pit.
There is Sterling Marlin, who spun over in turn number 2 and came to a halt momentarily, enough to bring out the caution flag by the NASCAR officials. And so the pace car comes out on the racetrack and bunches the field once again. And when they get to the 4th turn, here's a replay of Marlin looping it.
And it looks like he makes a 360. Darrell Waltrip gets by, Ernie Irvin, Bobby Hillin, and other cars. He was one of the 13 cars in the lead lap. Sterling Marlin was running in 11th position.
The pits are open now for anyone that chooses to come in for a pit stop. Let's see how many do. Here comes Earnhardt in. And Morgan Shepherd and Brett Bodine. And let's go to Jerry Punch, who's in Earnhardt's pit.
Well, the good news for Earnhardt's crew is that this caution flag gives them a chance to come in and change 4 tires. The car had begun to get a little bit loose coming off turn 2. They'll be able to correct that problem. The bad news is that if Earnhardt's car gets corrected, it'll be even quicker. Let's check in with John Turner in the Morgan Shepherd pit.
Well, Jerry Morgan is pitted all the way up here at the entrance to pit road. He has already taken 4 new tires and is down and away. Mark Martin is still in the pits.
And we've had someone hit on pit road as Mark Martin is still in the pit area. They're changing the left side tires. He is down and away now. And a driver and crew member has been hit, a member of the Brett Bodine crew. I'm not sure exactly how it happened, if he was hit by a car or a tire or what, but he did fall and now has been carried over to the pit wall.
Part of Michael Waltrip's crew there, who are pitting.
They're looking at his
the
leg,
State
it
car.
looks like. He was unable to get up and get back over to the pit wall by himself. A couple of guys went over and did carry him.
Maybe we can see what happened. Here comes Earnhardt. Earnhardt and Schrader almost collided. And right there
He was pushing the 26 car and just squeezed in between the 30 car and the 26, wasn't he?
I believe that's what maybe happened. He ran out of room in there, not knowing that Michael Waltrip's car was that close.
Yes.
Doesn't appear to be seriously injured. He's conscious, but apparently is complaining of leg pain. You can see Dr. Jerry Punch, who now puts on his physician's hat and attends to the injury of that crew member. And Jerry will have a report on the injury when we come back to more action here at North Wilkesboro. The Tyson Holly Farms 400 underway from North Wilkesboro. Ken Schrader now shown as the leader. Still under caution here at North Wilkesboro. There was an incident on pit road during the pit stops. Watch to the left of the 26 car. Brett Bodine comes out of the pits, and a member of his crew appears to be squeezed between the 26 and the 30 car. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Well, good news here in the Quaker State pits. William Grimm, the right front tire changer, alias Banjo, as everyone knows him in the garage area. Now, what happened out there?
Jerry, we were pushing the car up after the stop, and Brett clipped me with the left rear fender, and I just got knocked on my tail.
Thank you for changing that. Now, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just knocked the wind out of me. I'm all right.
These guys are indeed athletes here in the pits, Bob.
Glad to see that he is okay and didn't suffer any injuries.
Well, let me tell you, the one reason the caution flag came out that time, Sterling Marlin did spin. He got the car going, but there was a beverage can laying on the racetrack that NASCAR picked up at the same time the caution was out.
All right, the green flag comes out on lap 241. We're back to racing. Ken Schrader in car number 25 is the leader of the race. Earnhardt is second, and Morgan Shepherd is in third spot. Let's see if Earnhardt grabs the lead from Schrader here in the first lap of green. Yes, he will. Let's go to John Kernan, who has a comment on Ken Schrader.
Well, Bob, Ken Schrader came in. They thought track position was of utmost importance, so they only took on right side tires. Now, the interesting thing is, earlier they had a miss in the car. They were coming in on this pit stop anticipating to change the ignition box. Well, that problem fixed itself, so Richard Broom says, hey, let's roll the dice. Let's go with the right side tire change and get that good track position.
Well, they held the lead just briefly before Dale Earnhardt snatched it from them once again. Dale now begins to pull away from Schrader and the others.
Didn't take him long to get to the front once again, and he's close, fellas, and maybe already has led enough laps that he could be the top lap leader of the day. He's getting very close to that. They're out there to ensure that.
That, of course, would give him another 5 bonus Winston Cup points. There's Morgan Shepherd in car number 15, who is third. Sterling Marlin is contact there between Marlin and Ken Schrader.
Marlin went a lap down when he spun over there, Bob, and he was one of the cars in the lead lap, but now there are only 12 cars in the lead lap.
Sterling is a lap down, so is Kyle Petty. In car number 42, the pole sitter of the event.
Morgan Shepherd is having all kinds of problems getting by Sterling Marlin. Fine,
there he does.
Fine, going off turn 4. But now he has to get up and pass Schrader before he can make any kind of attempt to chase down the leader, Dale Earnhardt. Or try to chase down the leader, Dale Earnhardt.
Earnhardt has led 169 of 244 laps. So he is getting very close to closing everybody else out as far as that particular statistic is concerned.
There's the interval between first and second, and now Shepherd makes a bid for second position, taking the inside line in turn 1 and 2 on Ken Schrader. And Shepherd has second spot.
If Richard Broom, Ken Schrader, and those guys would have talked to Alan Kowicki, they probably would not have changed 2 tires. Kowicki did that earlier and went straight to the back.
We're watching, looking for Mark Martin. There he is, once again buried in traffic.
Moving around Rusty Wallace.
There's Bill Elliott and Ricky Rudd running side by side. Ahead of them is Jeff Bodine in the Budweiser car, Junior Johnson.
Bodine being shown in the 5th position.
Now Mark mixes it up with these guys a little. 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th right here.
Bill Elliott trying to get by Rudd. Mark, he don't know which one to follow, so he's going to just play at the middle.
Oh.
Some contact.
Bodine got turned sideways there in the 4th turn, but gathered it in. Meanwhile, Mark Martin will take the high line in an attempt to pass Jeff Bodine.
Jeff Bodine Hart had to stop. When you're going along straight, everything is fine. All of a sudden, boom, the hitch, and the world turns sideways. You say, oh, Lord.
You were never in that situation, were you, Benny?
A few dozen times. My heart stopped every time.
Fans might wonder, well, you know, what does it sound like in there? Well, you don't hear those sounds then because you're not really totally conscious, it doesn't seem like, because your heart is not beating for a moment.
Oh, we have a spin off of turn 2. Jimmy Spencer is in the grass. However, I don't think it's going to be a caution again. Nope. He's moving, so no caution. Jimmy Spencer, driver of the Heinz Pontiac.
Here comes Morgan Shepherd.
Now let's go back to this other battle. Mark Martin right behind Ricky Rudd. Martin again goes to the high side of the track. He's got the camera pointed right at Mark from Rudd's car, and Mark,
tell you what, he's moving pretty good up on the outside.
Looks like he's going to successfully complete the pass of Ricky Rudd. There he goes.
He might have the race car the way he wants it now, fellas, if he can just get that track position back, but he's going to have to work for that. It's not going to be given to him.
He's going to have to work as well as his crew is going to have to work. They're going to have to make one of those 18, 19-second four-tire pit stops.
Now he's alongside of Michael Waltrip. Michael is a lap down now after running in the lead lap for quite a while. Mark Martin has moved to 5th. There's Rudd in number 5 and 6th position, and then Elliott.
This is a shot from inside of the Ricky Rudd Levi Gary Chevrolet. And there he is, a yellow and white car, number 5.
All in a spin with Earnhardt on the last lap here last year going for the win.
Michael Waltrip, a lap down, currently being shown in the 15th position. 12 cars on the lead lap. And we're watching the 6th and 7th place cars there. That's Ricky Rudd, Bill Elliott running 7th. Right behind him is Ernie Irvin in 8th place. Then Jeff Bodine is in 9th. 10th is Alan Kowicki. Darrell Waltrip is 11th. And Rusty Wallace 12th. So those are the...
Look at Mark Martin now close in on Brett Bodine in a bid for the 4th position.
Sterling Marlin is a lap down the blue 94, but he's trying to get by Schrader. He feels like he's faster than he is. Oh, Mark Martin almost ran in the infield. Mark, don't do that.
He had to get the left side tires clear off the racetrack down into the grass.
He scared me. You can imagine what he did to himself.
Now he's going to go to the high side of Brett Bodine.
At least make Brett think he's going to do that.
Let's take a look at the replay once again. Now, look, he had notions of going high, but then decided to go to the left.
Yeah, he just cut it left, and too much, because Brett came back down to cover that spot, and it cost him some distance.
It's a good thing he had the radial tires on, because an excursion down in the infield and hitting a rock or something like that could easily puncture a bias ply tire, but these radials are awfully tough.
Back on Mark Martin and Ricky Rudd. Now there is 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. There's the leader, so you can see how much racetrack there is between the leader, Dale Earnhardt, and those battling for position, including Mark Martin. Back right after this. Bob Jenkins, Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch back at North Wilkesboro. There's the leader, Dale Earnhardt. Where is their second place, Morgan Shepherd? Here comes third, Ken Schrader, and there is the fourth place car of Mark Martin. So he has been able to pass now Brett Bodine and go into fourth spot. Meanwhile, Bodine is trying to hang on as Ricky Rudd challenges for fifth.
And Bill Elliott is right behind Rudd. He wants to follow Ricky through. He's on the inside, which is the preferred line if he can just make it stick.
Inside the Quaker State Buick, driven by Brett Bodine, who won here in the spring. Mark Martin is the second car ahead of Brett. Ricky Rudd immediately ahead.
But you can see the third, fourth, and fifth place cars. You see Ken Schrader out in front of Martin, then Martin running fourth, Ricky Rudd fifth, Brett Bodine sixth, but about to lose that to Bill Elliott.
Elliott and Bodine are side by side. And Bill will grab the advantage. Now here's Mark Martin gaining another position, and Mark has battled back to third. An unbelievable run for that number 6 car, and as you indicated, Ned, they apparently have suffered, figured out what was wrong with it in terms of handling, and have that car running as quick as it has all day.
Yeah, now if he gets the caution now and can make an equal pit stop to Earnhardt, he'd be in great shape. He's about 8 3/4 seconds behind Earnhardt. So, but still, if he got out even with Earnhardt and come back out in third place after a pit stop, then he would be in have good track position.
Fighting with Ricky Rudd. Now let's take a look at the footwork of Ricky Rudd. Look at him mash the accelerator down the straightaway, but then get on the brake, pump those brakes as he heads into the turn.
He's one of those drivers, one of most drivers who now use their left foot. You don't have to press nearly as hard here, Bob, as you do at Martinsville on those brakes.
Yeah, the turns here aren't quite as sharp as they are at Martinsville.
And a little bit more banking in the turns, too.
You see him playing with the throttle. If he could just get back on the throttle right there, right in the middle of the corner, if he could go all the way to the floor, he could outrun everybody in the world, but he has to play with the throttle. He almost gets to the straightaway and then go to the floor.
Boy, that's a great shot. You can see exactly where he gets on and off of the accelerator and on and off the brakes. Now watch, he'll mash it right here. And then he's only down to the floorboard for just an instant.
It looks like for just a second or two. The rest of the time, playing with the throttle, trying to keep the back end intact.
But you can see when he gets an opportunity to press it all the way to floorboard, he does it.
He does it. He's got clear racetrack ahead of him. Mark Martin is ahead, but 4 or 5 car lengths ahead.
You see the brake and clutch pedal, see the brake and clutch pedal. You wonder what those holes are for? That's to make those pieces lighter. The teams go to all that problem to lighten up things.
And one thing we're also not watching, and we'll point out, is the steering column there. You can see him actually turn the wheel.
Yeah, that's the universal joint there, so it's not exactly straight as it goes down through the steering box.
See him turning now into the first and second corners, and now as he comes out of the corner, he nails the accelerator. Imagine doing that for 400 laps. Well, Ricky Rudd is in 5th position at the moment. And there is the leader, Dale Earnhardt, behind the 43 car of Richard Petty. Let's go to Jerry Punch for a comment on Dale.
Dale Earnhardt had 2 goals coming into this race today. Number 1, he wanted to lead the most laps, and number 2, he wanted to win it. Well, he just achieved his first goal. According to calculations here in the Goodrich pit, and they had a little celebration a minute ago on lap 274, just 3 laps ago. Dale Earnhardt led his 201st lap, so no one can lead any more laps. He has claimed those 5 bonus points. Now, goal number 2, winning the race, he still has yet to do.
But certainly leading the most laps is no guarantee of victory, because remember last year when Dale led 342 of the 400 laps, on the 400th and final lap he spun and dropped from 1st to 10th. So things can fall apart in a matter of moments.
You never know till that checker flag drops.
Here's Bill Elliott and Ken Schrader contesting fifth position.
Schrader had been running fifth, but now Elliott trying to take it away.
Right there is Brett Bodine, also in the Quaker State Buick. And our Western Auto race recap showed that Dale Earnhardt has led 205 of the 275 laps. 7 caution periods for a total of 33 laps, no serious crashes. There are 12 cars on the lead lap and an average speed of 92.975 miles an hour. Those that have gained 5 bonus points for leading a lap include Martin and Kyle Petty and Earnhardt and also Ken Schrader. Out of the race, Rick Mast because of a crash. Jeff Purvis, Jimmy Means, Dick Trickle also hit the wall in the 3rd turn. And now we check our Western Auto Mechanic of the Year standings. On top, Robin Pemberton of the Mark Martin crew with 589 points. Second is Tim Brewer with Jeff Bodine. Mike Beam, the number 9 car of Bill Elliott, as we continue to see a battle for position between Ken Schrader and Brett Bodine. Andy Petrie is in 4th position in the Mechanic of the Year standings. Just a little more than 100 laps to go in this Tyson Holly Farms 400 from North Wilkesboro. Dale Earnhardt is the leader. Back after these messages. After 283 of the 400 laps, it's Dale Earnhardt, Morgan Shepherd, Mark Martin, Ricky Rudd, and Bill Elliott in the top 5. Second 5, Ken Schrader, Brett Bodine, Ernie Irvin, Darrell Waltrip, and Rusty Wallace is in 10th position. And the 25 and 26 cars continue to battle. This is the best one on the racetrack for 6th position. Brett Bodine and Ken Schrader.
Well, fellas, Mark Martin has just about caught Morgan Shepherd and has cut about a second off of Dale Earnhardt's lead. He was about 7 3/4 seconds when he got into 3rd place, but now he's about 6 3/4 of the seconds behind Earnhardt. But as we watch this battle,
there is Dale Earnhardt, and if the race were to end right now, about 113 laps shy of its scheduled conclusion, if it were to end right now, look how close the points would be. Mark Martin would maintain the Winston Cup points lead, but by a single marker over Dale Earnhardt.
But in a moment, it'll be 6 points. He moves around Morgan Shepherd.
There is the battle for 6. Oh, and Mark Martin just blows him away coming off the 4th corner. So Mark Martin goes to 2nd position. John?
Shepherd has radioed in, and he has told his crew that the car has gotten a little bit loose, so he's had to back out of it just a little bit and try and wait until a caution so they can come in and tighten the car up and put 4 fresh sticker tires on it.
Well, he has lost 2nd position to Mark Martin. Now you can see Morgan's car drifting very high in the corners.
That's been an impressive run by Mark Martin in that Folgers Ford. To make those pit stops that they did to try to get the car fixed and to march through the field, most impressive. Earnhardt could have done the same thing, I believe. These 2 cars at this point of the season clearly are the class of the field.
Now, if the race ends with Dale Earnhardt winning and Mark Martin finishing 2nd, Martin would have a 6-point advantage in the Winston Cup points. There's the interval between 1st and 2nd position. About a half a lap, as a matter of fact. So Martin has a lot of distance to cover before he catches Dale Earnhardt, as Dale just continues to set a flawless pace.
The car comes off of those turns so good. When he mashes the accelerator, it really comes off the corner, and that's the key to getting around a short track.
There is Jeff Bodine, and he is very close to going a lap down, although he is in the top 12.
Yes, he is currently running in 12th position, the last car on the lead lap. There's Harry Gant, who was involved in an early wreck, has been in and out of the garage area, many laps down. But Jeff Bodine and Junior Johnson's Budweiser Ford is about to go a lap down. Rusty Wallace not too far in front of him.
And Jeff makes contact with Earnhardt.
He pulled over to move around Dave Marcus. And about to squeeze Earnhardt out.
Dale just gave him a friendly reminder that he was back there.
Bodine is going to, well, I thought he was going to move over, but Earnhardt's trying to pass him on the inside.
Now he's going to move over. Oh, well, they make contact again. Yep.
There, Jeff moves over and says, go ahead on the outside. Well, I thought he said go ahead on the outside.
Dale don't pass on the outside. He wants to pass on the inside. He's going to bump him, move him a little bit.
Now he is. Sure don't want to cave in a fender.
Very easy to do. For some of the short tracks, they cut those fenders away just a little bit more than they do on the super speedways.
Earnhardt having a heck of a time putting Jeff Bodine a lap down.
Evidently, Earnhardt's car just does not work that well on this high side of the racetrack. He wants to pass on the inside, and those cars look like they're literally glued together.
Now Dale makes the pass, and Jeff goes a lap down, so there are 11 cars now on the lead lap. The next to go a lap down will be, oh, and here comes Jeff Bodine in for a pit stop. Jeff Bodine comes in, and Tim Brewer and the rest of the crew go to work on the Budweiser Ford. Got to get some new tires on that car. They're going to make a 4-tire change.
Wow.
Dale Earnhardt coming around is going to put Jeff a lap down.
2 laps down now.
19.6. Not bad for a 4-tire change.
And there's trouble. Ricky Rudd has spun up on turn 4. Boy, what a bad timing for Jeff Bodine. The yellow flag is out.
Ricky Rudd cracks the wall up in the 3rd turn. You can see he's just waiting for traffic to clear, and he'll drive down the banking.
Boy, right in front of a bunch of cars, but he thought he could get it down there. And it was a break for Rusty Wallace, who was about to go a lap down to Dale Earnhardt, so now he'll stay in the lead lap.
Exactly 100 laps to go. Let's take a look at it again.
There's the car number 10 of Derek Cope on the inside. It looks like he clips Ricky Rudd and spins Rudd into the wall. Good bit of damage to the left rear of Ricky Rudd's Levi Garrett Chevrolet.
Boy, I tell you, Rudd just hadn't had a break the last couple of weeks.
I'm telling you, that's the 2nd week he's been involved in a crash. Let's take this break and be right back. Pit stops here at North Wilkesboro with 99 laps to go. Let's go to Jerry Punch with Dale Earnhardt.
Right side tires already on the Goodrich Chevrolet, coming around to the left side of the car. Remember, a big break for Mark Martin. Earnhardt through. They want to get that advantage over Martin, who's pitting further down pit road. Earnhardt off check. Let's go to John Kernan.
Right side tires already on the Mark Martin car. Left side's coming up. Dale Earnhardt speeds off pit road. The left side lugs being tightened. They are making no chassis adjustment this time. And now Mark Martin is down and away and almost, oh, it was close with the 94 car, Sterling Marlin, and close getting out of pit road for Mark Martin.
Well, we're set up now for the final stretch here. Let's take a look at the in-car camera shot of Ricky Rudd's incident with Derek Cope up in the 3rd turn.
He goes down the corner and just gets touched on the left rear by Derek Cope. He turns the car to the right, but unfortunately it's gone all the way around. There's nothing he can do except back into the wall.
And when there's a serious crash, the window net becomes a very important part of the entire race car. More on that. Here is this week's Track Fact. This Track Fact is brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
This year, there have been some subtle changes with regard to how the window netting is attached to the car that may not be easily visible to the average race fan. In years past, the window netting has been attached by a modified seatbelt clamp. The seatbelt clamp has a release button on the outside, very difficult for the driver to reach, and a lot of times these buttons would get jammed during an accident or impact, and safety crews would be here struggling to get this button open and the net down. What many teams have gone to this year is more of a positive action clamp. This clamp you'll recognize is very similar to one used on the seat belts and the shoulder harnesses. And more importantly, the release lever of the clamp faces the driver. The driver simply can flip it inside and be out of the car. Also, it's very important for the safety crews to realize this clamp is the same clamp used, as I said, on the seat belts and shoulder harnesses, so they don't have to struggle with the other clamps. Simply flip 3 clamps and the driver's out.
And the safety netting important also in keeping a driver's head away from the wall and keeping it from snapping. Watch Rudd's head snap there as he hits the wall. That netting will protect the head from getting outside of the race car. Back with more from North Wilkesboro in a moment. The cars have just taken the green flag for the resumption of racing after the caution, and Dale Earnhardt continues to set the pace here at North Wilkesboro. Running in second spot is Morgan Shepherd, and third is Mark Martin. The number 11 car of Jeff Bodine is sandwiched between first and second. He's a couple of laps down.
He had just made a green flag pit stop before the caution came out.
Likewise, Kyle Petty in car number 42 is a lap down. He's being shown in 13th spot at the moment. Now Mark Martin will look to the inside of Morgan Shepherd coming off the second corner. There's Bill Elliott, who is also on the lead lap in fourth.
Bob, after Ricky Rudd spun into the wall, he lost a lap, so now we only have 10 cars on the lead lap, so Kyle Petty is running in 11th position. Earnhardt, Morgan Shepherd, Mark Martin, Bill Elliott fourth, fifth is Brett Bodine, sixth is Ernie Irvin, seventh Ken Schrader, eighth Rusty Wallace, ninth is the car number 7 of Alan Kowicki, and Darrell Walter 10th. Those are the 10 cars on the lap.
Riding with Brett Bodine. Now here's Mark Martin moving inside of Morgan Shepherd, trying to take away second spot. And Martin will do so. Mark Martin is second. Take a look at the Big A Auto Parts pit stop report on Mark Martin as we see Bill Elliott now challenging and moving into third position, putting Morgan Shepherd back to fourth. Now let's take a look at that pit stop performance on Mark Martin. 10.2 for the driver and 25 seconds for the crew to change all 4 tires on that car. Total of 35.2 seconds. Now Dale Earnhardt was faster again as far as the crew is concerned. 12.8 for the driver and 21.6 for the crew. 34.4 total for Dale Earnhardt in the crew.
Well, Dale Earnhardt is in the middle of the pits. And when he comes off turn 4, he can't barrel down pit road because he has to start worrying about where to stop. But Mark Martin pitted all the way down in turn 1, just blast down the front straightaway to his pit. But Earnhardt's crew are doing a fantastic job in the pits.
See Brett Bodine there. And look at Ernie Irvin. He is beginning to move now. Haven't seen much of him today, but moving on the inside of Brett Bodine. That would be for the 5th position.
Back at North Wilkesboro, where once again the yellow flag flies over the speedway on lap 357. Derek Cope spun coming out of the second corner, got down into the infield grass, and it was enough to bring out another caution. Now we are awaiting pit stops, and here comes the field down pit road, being led by Dale Earnhardt. Mark Martin is also on pit road. Let's go to Jerry Punch in Dale's pit.
Gotta believe Dale Earnhardt did not want to see a caution flag. He was holding consistently about 3 seconds in front of Mark Martin, but now it'll all bunch up. Pit crew very vital here, getting him back out in front. Right side tires have been changed. They move around to the left side. Let's check into the Mark Martin pit with John Kernan.
Right side tires already on. The crew comes around to the left side. They have taken 2 rounds of wedge out of the right rear. Dale Earnhardt speeding down pit road. The Folgers crew quickly working, trying to get the lug nuts tight on the left side. Now they get it, and Mark is away.
Martin comes out of the pits just behind Dale Earnhardt. That's the way they will line up for the restart. Looks like Brett Bodine is going to be third on the restart as they file out of pit road. So with just a little less than 50 laps to go now, we may be set up for the final race to the checkered flag here at North Wilkesboro. NASCAR visits beautiful North Carolina, North Wilkesboro to be exact, and the Tyson Holly Farms 400 Winston Cup race. Race number 25 out of 29 in the Winston Cup season, and our next race will be on October 21st. It'll be on tape at 8 o'clock Eastern Time from Rockingham, North Carolina, the AC Delco 500. We have the last 3 Winston Cup races of the 1990 season. Let's take a look at the top 10 here with 40 laps to go at North Wilkesboro. Dale Earnhardt continues to show the way. We'll be back right after this. Set to go back to green. The green flag waves. Here we go on lap 362. Back to racing. Earnhardt chased by Mark Martin.
Mark Martin got a break. He was able to get by the lap car of Kyle Petty immediately and sit right on the back bumper of Earnhardt. Now we'll see what he can do.
Brett Bodine, we're riding with him. He's third. Fourth is Bill Elliott. Fifth is Darrell Waltrip. Sixth, Ernie Irvan. Seventh is Rusty Wallace. Brett Bodine won here at North Wilkesboro earlier this year.
As the cars went by our stationary camera, these 2 cars was one. And look, Mark Martin alongside Dale Earnhardt.
Martin goes for the lead into turn number 3, and he gets it. Mark Martin has gone to the lead, and he gets a friendly bump in the rear part of the car from Dale Earnhardt.
That just knocked him further away from Earnhardt. He was about ready to get back in the gas anyway, and that really shot him off that turn.
Mark Martin has gone into the lead. Earnhardt now second and Brett Bodine third. This would be a big win for Mark if he can claim the checkered flag here this afternoon. 16 points separate Mark and Dale in the Winston Cup points battle. Let's go to John Kernan.
Well, in the last pit stop, Bob, they took out 2 rounds of wedge. They were freeing the car up so he could run it just a little bit faster. And when I asked Robin Pemberton if they did that so he could get around Dale Earnhardt, he just smiled and shook his head.
They have done something because that car now is faster than it's been all day.
Boy, he's checking out now.
And let's go to Jerry Punch with a follow-up on John's comment.
Earnhardt's crew is aware that Martin's crew took out a couple around the wedge to try to make the car a little bit looser and to run freer and faster. That's exactly what he's doing right now. Their only hope right now, as Richard Jonas told me, is the hope that possibly the next 25 or 30 laps, Martin's car will begin to get loose. As the track gets slicker, the tires warm up a little bit, the car will get loose, and Dale can run him down.
So hang on, friends, because it isn't over yet. 368 laps are in the books.
Now, if the race should end right now the way they're going, they'd go away from here the same way they came in, 16 points. Is that right? I think it is, because Mark will get 5 more points for winning the race, and Dale has got 5 points for leading the most laps, so it should wind up the same way. They both get 180 points.
Yep. Tony Glover has been chosen as the Western Auto Mechanic of the race on the number 4 car. Congratulations to Tony Glover, Western Auto Mechanic of the race. A good performance by this entire crew and for driver Ernie Irvan, who finds himself 5th.
Tony Glover, the crew chief, would probably give up that $1,000 if Tennessee could have got 1 more point last night. You saw the game on ESPN. Tennessee tied Auburn. Big volunteer fan, Tony Glover.
Dale Earnhardt has 8 wins in Winston Cup competition this year and is second in the points. Okay, so guys, when was the last time a driver led the circuit in wins and failed to win the championship? Think about that.
When Bill Elliott, I know in 1985 when Bill Elliott won the most races.
That wasn't the last time.
That wasn't the last time. How about last year?
How about Tim Richmond?
Benny, you cheated again. You looked at my notes.
Well, I mean, you're not supposed to leave him laying right in front of me.
Tim Richmond in 1986 is the answer to the question. Mark Martin leads the Tyson Holly Farms 400. We'll be back right after this. Less than 25 laps to go in the Tyson Holly Farms 400. It's Mark Martin, Dale Earnhardt, Brett Bodine, Bill Elliott, and Ernie Irvan, the top 5. Skies remain cloudy over North Wilkesboro Speedway. They have been all day, but Mark Martin continues to hold on to the lead over Dale Earnhardt. Ken Schrader is the man on the move.
Yes, he is. He was back about 8th position. He now has moved into 6th position. He just moved around Darrell Waltrip a lap or two ago, moving Waltrip back to 7th. Schrader's Kodiak Chevrolet on the move.
Waltrip hasn't had a bad day.
No, he stayed in the lead lap all day, and now in the top 10, currently in 7th position.
But Darrell Waltrip had visions of sugar plums dancing in his head. He wanted to win this race, and really truly felt like he could.
Yesterday afternoon in practice, he was one of the fastest cars. But I talked to him this morning, and he said, yeah, you know, but he said when you get in that thing and they drop the green flag, say you radio in and say, what in the world happened, guys? That thing felt so good yesterday afternoon. And it don't feel that good today.
18 more laps to go for Mark Martin.
The question is, does Mark Martin have a big enough lead on Earnhardt? I know that Earnhardt is going to start catching him. Is the lead big enough, Ned? There's Earnhardt.
Well, yeah, I think the lead's big enough, Benny.
Okay.
Yep, I think Mark Martin will stay out there. If nothing happens to that Folgers Ford, he'll win this race.
Let's check the interval between first and second.
Here comes Mark across the start-finish line. We start our clock. Here comes Earnhardt, 2.7 seconds.
It's a pretty healthy advantage with less than 15 laps to go.
It sure is. Less than 15 laps, did you say?
Yeah.
It's 16.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Take off your shoes.
Well, this calculator is, the battery's going down.
Let's try again.
Same. Do it one more time.
All right, let's see. I thought that Earnhardt would start catching him. He usually, after a few laps, starts gaining on the field, but Mark Martin this time able to stay out with that number. Let's see. Start the clock. Here comes Earnhardt. Oh, even Mark Martin's getting on Earnhardt.
Yep. He slipped just a little bit. We have to take another commercial break to set up for the finish of this race to see if Mark Martin can hold on. Back at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway, where there are 12 laps to go in the Tyson Holly Farms 400. Mark Martin in the Folgers Ford is the leader of the race. Dale Earnhardt in the Goodwrench number 3 is about 2.8 seconds behind. Let's go to Jerry Pughtooth with Richard Childress.
Richard, you guys did not want to see that last caution flag come out.
Now, you know, with the cloud cover, our car was working good when the sun was out. You know, we're just a little bit too tight right now, you know, just one of them deals.
They have picked up a push here in the Earnhardt pit. Let's check in a little happier pits where John Turner is standing by with Steve Neal.
Steve Neal's not quite smiling yet, but it looks like you certainly made the right chassis adjustment on that last pit stop.
I don't know. It's awful hard on Mark coming from behind. We had to decide if we wanted to run second to Dale or make a chassis change and try to get back out front. And, you know, as luck would have it, we've run real well here at the end. We might hang on, but the way this racetrack is, as good as Dale Earnhardt is, it's not over till it's over.
Well, they're not counting their chickens till they hatch, and I think that's appropriate for this area.
Here's Ernie Irvan and Ken Schrader battling for position.
That'll be for 5th. Irvan holds the 5th position right now. Schrader trying to take it away. There's Ricky Rudd in the picture too. Ricky is 1 lap down. He is being shown in the 11th position. And just 9 laps to go. And here's Schrader trying to go up on the outside of Ernie Irvan. Ernie's been protecting that inside groove. Schrader gets a good bite off the turn. Those two Chevrolets go side by side off turn 4. But it looks like Schrader, yeah, the car number 4 breaks loose a little bit, Ernie Irvan, and allows Schrader to move into the top 5.
Two very good friends, Ernie Irvan and Ken Schrader. Both guys live in Concord near each other. And here's Ricky Rudd going by Ernie Irvan as well, but Ricky is a lap down. Our leader, Mark Martin, the Folgers Ford, also the Winston Cup point leader. 7 laps to go. 7 laps to go as he comes off turn 4. Now it's 6 laps to go. As That's Rick Wilson, the yellow 75 General Oldsmobile.
Rick is running in 18th position at the moment.
Mark Martin start counting them now. Five to go. Here comes Earnhardt.
But he doesn't appear to be gaining. It appears to be Mark Martin's race, but don't go away, friends, because remember last year, the leader, Dale Earnhardt, lost it on the last lap. Anything can happen in the closing moments of this race. Mark Martin completing lap 396, 4 laps to go. Will be his third win of 1990 if he can hang on. He won at Richmond. He won at Michigan. Less than 3 laps to go as the Folgers crew looks on with their fingers crossed, hoping that their driver can pull out another victory and continue to lead the Winston Cup point standings.
What a comeback this will be to make all those chassis adjustments in the middle of the race, go completely to the end of the lead cars and lead lap. I think 13 spots and work his way back through to the front.
He has battled back from a long pit stop. The pit crew rolled the dice. They took a chance. They kept him in to make a major chassis adjustment on the car. He nearly lost a lap, getting out just in front of the pace car. He was almost a full lap behind, but he has moved through traffic. He has picked off his competitors. He took the lead from Dale Earnhardt a few laps ago, and now Mark Martin has less than a lap to go before he can claim victory here at North Wilkesboro. He brings the Folgers forward off the 4th corner, and Mark Martin wins the Tyson Holly Farms 400. The Jack Roush crew celebrate, and well they should. They have done their job. They have put their driver in the winner's circle here this afternoon. Mark Martin maintains his points lead in Winston Cup competition, winning this race here today. Let's go to John Kernan, who's with Jack Roush.
Jack, I tell you what, I can't believe the job you guys keep doing week in and week out. You almost lose a lap. You make all those chassis adjustments. Just, I guess, hard work, that's it.
Yeah, they made 2 major chassis adjustments today, which we needed just when we needed them. Mark was great on the radio. We had a lot of fun with him today. We had a jack that didn't work quite right, and we'll get that rebuilt before Charlotte. The guys are just super. We're anxious to keep this thing going. We're glad that it's tight as it is.
A pretty good weekend, though. Dorsey Schrader winning the IMSA GTO.
Yeah, Dorsey won the GTO championship with his XR4 TI Cougar, and we're real proud of that.
Well, he's been through it before in other divisions and championship races, and Bob, it looks like they're going to hang on in this one. At least they're giving it their best shot.
Well, we have 4 more races to go in the Winston Cup season.
Yes,
we'll televise the last 3. Mark Martin did take a major step here today toward that Winston Cup for 1990. And we'll be back to talk with him right after this. Stay with us. The Tyson Holly Farms 400 from North Wilkesboro is over. Mark Martin is the winner, and the key moment of the race came at about the midway point during this pit stop.
Mark Martin's car just simply would not turn. He was having trouble getting through the turns. They decided to take a rubber out of the right front spring to make it handle better. We see the NASCAR official tell him 1 lap to go.
And the pace car is coming down the front straightaway. Is he going to go a lap down? No. They get the work completed. He gets back out on the track, stays in the lead lap.
He was that close to going a lap down. Our road handler winner's circle interview in victory lane. Here's Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thank you, Bob. A great day at North Wilkesboro Speedway for the Martin family. And Mark, congratulations on a tremendous effort.
Well, I got a mouthful to say here, man. It was really, you couldn't touch Dale Earnhardt. He was gone. We were a 2nd place car. Jack, Steve, Robin, the guys on pit road were incredible. They're number 1 in my heart, I tell you. They worked on the car all day long and prepared the whole race to make that last run, and it was right, you know, right on. And I just got to thank Folgers and Ford Motor Company, Valvoline, and all the guys, and the race fans have really rallied behind this championship drive. And like I said before, doesn't matter if we sit at that head table or not in New York, these guys are number 1.
They did a great job not to get you lapped when you took that rubber out of the right front, but you had to go the last car on the lead lap and pick your way through traffic very carefully.
Well, it was tough. I didn't think we'd ever make it back up front. after we made the adjustment, you know, the rubber pull on the car and got so far behind. But, you know, we took a gamble on giving the points lead away to try to win the race. And they wanted to win it bad enough to gamble to lose 30 points. And, you know, we're still in this thing to win races. And if we win races, we'll be okay in the championship.
It's those kind of gambles that can win you a championship. The Folgers Ford struggled for 300 laps. In the last 100 laps, it began to percolate, and here it is in victory lane. Let's go to John Kernan with our second-place finisher, Dale Earnhardt.
Thank you, Jerry. We're here with second-place finisher Dale Earnhardt, and I know you hated to see that last caution come out.
Well, we were pretty much tooling along. You know, the tires been real inconsistent all week. I hate Goodyear come up with no stagger here. You know, they come up with a new left side tire, and it messed us up. And they're really inconsistent. We were just really off bad. So, you know, we take second. We come out even in the points, I think, by leading the most laps. So, Mark did a good job. We'll give it to him this week. We'll go to the next battle at Charlotte next week.
Looks like it's going to be a great battle throughout. Bob?
Great battle here this afternoon. Here are the top 20 finishers. Mark Martin won the race. Dale Earnhardt was second. Brett Bodine third. Bill Elliott fourth. And Ken Schrader finished in fifth position. 6 through 10, Ernie Irvin, Darrell Waltrip, Rusty Wallace, Alan Kowicki, and Kyle Petty. And we'll now show you the second top 10.
Ned, I tell you, Dale Earnhardt had to be dying. He was most gracious, but he had to be dying inside.
Well, it had to hurt. That last caution came out and cost him a chance at victory, but that's the way racing goes. He's benefited from those kind of situations himself in the past.
Now, let's see how the scoring went today. Mark Martin won the first place points, 175. He got 5 bonus points for leading 1 lap, a total of 180. Earnhardt got second place points, 170. He led a lap plus the most laps, giving him 10 bonus points. So that means that they're exactly even. They go into the next race at Charlotte, 16 points separating the first two. It's still the closest Winston Cup points battle in history. My thanks to Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch. This is Bob Jenkins. So long, everyone.